What's going on, everybody? How are y'all doing tonight? We are back with the Gaming Den episode 40. That is right, even though it says episode 38. Let me change that. Whoops. Last week was 39. That means last week's also said 38. Hey, there we go. We're professionals. Hey, this is episode 40 of the Gaming Den. Totally doing Saros and Lurking tonight. Hey man, listen, Saros is a hell of a drug. It is one hell of a drug. And so yeah, I love that damn game. I really am enjoying it a lot. It's great. I'm having a blast with it. But let's get in kind of to tonight's show, what we're going to be talking about. We have an amazing crew tonight. As you can see, they're already up here. The guys that we have on tonight, we got Enate and GameLogIQ, two great folks. They keep coming back on here for whatever reason. It's not because the pay is good, I can tell you that. But let's get into the topics. Before I do, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We have clipped over 850 subscribers. Thank you to those of y'all who have. Also, liking and sharing and all that stuff really helps out the channel. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do that as well by hitting the join button. It's $5 a month, goes directly to me. Well, after YouTube takes their cut, it goes directly to me, helps fund the channel, and helps fund me. And so if you want to support me and support the channel, you can do that there. Also, you can join the Discord. It helps shape the show. Quite literally, one of the topics tonight was given by Enate, and he had actually kind of roped GameLogIQ into it as well. So that's where you got your panel from tonight. And so really excited about this. Use the Discord a lot. Y'all need to be in it. If you're in it, we can have great gaming conversations and you can help impact the show. Let's get into the topics for tonight, though. And here they are. 62% of hardcore players are no longer buying full-priced game. This is what a survey suggests. And no, the survey was not done by Annaly Analytics. And then we have the Xbox AI leap into core AI Xbox gaming. Let's go. She is finally assembling the Avengers while Xbox continues to flounder. Hence the reason why Guppy is on the thumbnail, because all they can do is flounder, but they flounder and fail upwards. That's why Jason Ronald got promoted to a new position. I don't fucking know. The guy's an idiot. I don't know why he got promoted. They said, what can you do? And he said, hey, I think I can do great. And they said, cool, you're promoted. And like, that's what happened. Then Asha opened her mouth today, said some more stuff about this, which I don't quite know why she did that. The hiring news was plenty, didn't have to say anything else, and she decided to say some stuff. So we're going to discuss that a little bit as well. Then, don't let the headline fool you. Poor start for PS5 exclusive Saros as first sales data emerges. Now, this is first sales data for day 1 and 2 days prior. So we're going to talk about how much we're going to hang on this, or do we hang anything on it? Do we give a shit? If you're playing Saros, what do you think about it? Thou shalt be promoted. That's right. And then Saros has been caught up in a disinformation campaign related to its storyline. Say it ain't so. What is it about? Oh my God, it's about woke stuff. Oh no. Oh darn, the internet blew up. Okay, so this is actually a big nothing burger, but it goes along with a trend that we've been seeing a lot over the past several months, where people just like to get pissed off and like to latch on to stuff. And what's crazy is people had already played and beat the game by the time this rumor even came out. And so, anyways, quite comical, quite funny. And then something I saw interesting. I know we have a ton of Bioshock fans here. And the last time really anybody heard anything about Bioshock was, oh, hey, the director's leaving, people at the studio are gone. And so Strauss Zelnick has come out and talked about the time they've spent, how much time they wasted, and we just want to get into his little interview he did. It's a really good interview talking about the gaming industry, but we also have a really interesting question tonight, and that question is being posed by Enate via another post that he saw, and it says, when you consider a game... Well, I'm sorry, when you're considering if a game is bloated or not, do you judge the game as a whole or only on content mandatory to complete the game? And this can spin off into a ton of different areas, so super excited about this. And yes, hey, listen, RPG, nobody cares what you actually saw. Nobody cares what you actually saw and what's actually in the game. like I said in the Discord, we just need to yell at something. So tonight, when we want to yell, we're going to yell at this. So give us something to get mad about. But with all of that being said, guys, once again, hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's bring in the panel. They are the reason why you're here. Hell, they're the reason why I'm here, if I'm honest. Let's go. Oh, also, thank y'all for showing up early to the gaming den. We got Jez with the Gaming Grindhouse. He said once the Knicks get done, he's going to jump on. We got Corey Massey in here, GameLogIQ stopping in, RPG88, Corey Massey. Thank y'all so much for showing up. Like I said, share this thing out and let's get it going. I am hyped for tonight. I don't know why I'm so hyped. Angry Mob Activate? That's right. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on?
Ooh. Nate coming in with the dinner in the mouth. I heard it. What you munching on, man?
Man, I'm trying to be sneaky over here, bro. I went and got a sandwich before we started the show. I got something called the Super Duper Sandwich.
Ooh, where's that from?
That's from a place called Ned's Crazy Sub.
Oh, we don't have a Ned's. We got Nukes, Jimmy John's, Subway, Quiznos, and Schlossky's.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. Our sandwich scene ain't that good. It's really not, dude. You're either overpaying for a piece of crap sandwich or you're overpaying for a sandwich because they put marmalade jelly on it. And you're like, I don't give a rat's ass.
I feel that.
So, Mr. Tennis, what's up, man? So, yeah, GameLogIQ, how are you, sir?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
I am more amped than I should be. If I'm being
sound like
honest.
you might have hit the espresso machine just a little bit.
I had it 2 hours ago, bro. Like it was.
Hey, man.
It was 2 hours ago.
Stop getting them beans from across the border, man. You know?
No, across the border. You mean across the world, dude? My beans come from Guatemala. They come from Ethiopia. These ain't just regular Arabica beans. This is good stuff. This is hand washed on the thighs of virgin women. This is the good stuff. I had a college professor one time. I went to a Baptist college, and so smoking cigars was one of those like gray areas. It was real funny. Nobody laughed. Yes, it was. Yeah. It was very strict. Smoking cigars was one of those gray areas, and we had a professor that we knew smoked, and loved the guy to death. And for his anonymity, I'm not going to say his name, but we went by his office one day. I was like, "Hey, we'd love it if you'd smoked a cigar with us. We'd even buy it." He goes, "I don't need my students to buy my cigars." He goes, "I've been doing this longer than y'all. Most of y'all have been alive. My cigars come hand rolled on the thighs of virgin women." I will never forget that, because like this dude is like teaching us like scripture, talking about the Bible, like we're going through all these things, and then he just busts out with one of the funniest things I think I've ever heard in my life. Anyways, that's a side note. There's going to be a lot of those tonight, guys. You can blame Enate, because him and I together basically equals a rabbit hunt, and it's quite comical. I should just play the Looney Tunes theme song in the back and just roll with it.
Understandable.
Like, anyways, that's my own brain that does it now. All right, so we're here about gaming, and I just saw what GameLogIQ was playing, but I'll let him talk about it. GameLogIQ, what are you playing right now?
I'm curious. What did you see me playing?
Arkham Knight.
Arkham City.
Oh, yeah. One of the Arkhams.
Yes. Yeah, but I mean, I've been playing my regular, gas stuff in Call of Duty, but the story-based thing that I've been dipping into is playing two different variants of Arkham City. So playing the Return to Arkham remaster on the Xbox Series X, which I think was 2016, and then and I'm also doing a playthrough of Arkham City on the Steam Deck. I think the Steam version is maybe an earlier version, It's hard for me to track because the DNA is so wild on the Arkham City and how many times it's been repackaged and resold. But at any rate, yeah, I'm playing the main campaign of that game. Like I said, doing 2 different runs on 2 different systems and having a good time playing through it.
I don't know if you saw the short that I had posted, but we were going to talk about gameplay tonight because I saw a short earlier today where I think Raj is his name, the guy who voices the character in Saros. He was talking about gameplay being king in that game. And one of the games he referenced as something that he'll always remember was the moment he was playing the first Arkham game and he goes and does the block with the triangle. And just, he goes, the way the block looked, just how badass it looked. Like, it always felt powerful. It always felt good to block, have that small freeze that it does, and then go back into the combo. And like, it truly is a series that I can go back to any one of the 4 games and have a wonderful time spending 5 to 15 more hours in it. Like, the Arkham games are so well done for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It really, and again, this is just specific to Arkham City, but also I played, a good chunk of Arkham Knight as well, which is a game that I really like, despite all the Batmobile hatred. It's really tough, and I'm a pretty deep like comic book guy who's got into comic books in my teens, and have stuck with it. I mean, not stuck with it. I've been off and on and out of it. As I've grown into adulthood, but it's something that I frequently come back to. I've interviewed comic book creators. I interviewed Greg Rucka, who did one of the great Captain America runs and one of the great Wonder Woman runs, and it's kind of one of the bigs in comics. And I've had back and forth with Scott Snyder and Scotty Young, and so it's a thing. It's content and culture
cool.
that I really get into. I almost feel like it's almost impossible to, with certain characters, really, really capture the essence of a character in a comic book and then on top of that build a world around it, and then on top of that have the kinematics of gameplay mechanics that really convey the fluidity that you would expect to see from a character that moves like a Batman. And Spider-Man does, Insomniac Spider-Man.
I was just thinking Spider-Man when you were saying that, because I was like, man, that's Spider-Man's one of the games that I go back to often just to play some of the combat, just to go back and web swing a bit, have some fights, do some of the story maybe, because I felt like, at least with the first one and Miles, they captured, I don't know why I said Miles like that. Holy shit, that was some Southern that came out. Miles. Anyways, those 2 games, they did a really, really good job blending story with combat, and the combat always felt satisfying. The web swinging always feels good. Webbing somebody against a wall or wrapping them up and slinging them across the side of a building, like, all of that feels good, no matter if it's your first time or your 10,000th time. It's always fun. So there's definitely something that I was thinking of when you were talking about that.
Yeah, for me, mechanics are the core. They're the key. It's easily the one thing that I can walk away from a game with, right? And if the story adds to it, then great. But it doesn't have to be centered. Like, those Arkham games literally capture everything about a Batman story. The relationship with Alfred, the interaction with Gordon, the rogues gallery of all of the different enemies and all of their psychoses and background. And just the essence of Gotham, right, and Arkham itself. And the one thing that I really love about both Batman and again it's Spider-Man as well, since as we're adding that in, is what I really love about it is the superheroing part of it is they don't put it on you to make the combat come off looking beautiful. And one of the things, one of my big things is in game mechanics is there are a lot of games that do this fluidity in combat and it looks really wonderful. But then like the one time that you kind of screw up and you get like one bit of timing off, like the character kind of stumbles and kind of careens around, and like that verisimilitude is broken, right? That moment of disbelief is broken, and you have these, you have this string of beauty, and then all of a sudden it's just this ripping you back into the jank of, oh, I'm in a video game. and Arkham is one of the things that does that really, really, really well, as well as the Spider-Man games. It's like, and especially to me personally, I think even in Insomniac games, the personification of Miles, right? As an on-screen avatar, actually does this better with his power set than Peter Parker. It's just like it is the closest thing to making you feel like you're in a comic book and not in a video game, and like you don't get that jank even when you screw up like timing in a combo. I don't know how to describe it. It catches itself, or it smooths over that wrinkle, or it's barely perceptible. You don't think about it. It doesn't break your stream of consciousness right in the combat, and everything just comes off right when the combat ends, and you kind of get that fell that kind of
that letdown almost, like the whew.
Well, you get like the final slow motion thing of you beating the bad guy.
Oh yes.
With the swell of the music. That's what I was thinking of. Right, with the kind of hero theme at the end. Like even if you screwed something up, even if there was a bit of jank at that point, like everything is fine, and the only thing you remember is how beautiful that combat sequence was.
That's what I think. Like, because there's sometimes when you'll end it. We got to get to the other two guests that are here, but there's sometimes when you'll end like a fight scene in that, and you talk about the slow motion, and like it's because you nicked them with a fingertip, and it's like, well, that didn't look that cool, but the rest of that fight was epic. Like, I was slinging myself across the world. I was halfway across the map. I was flying off of the top of gargoyle heads. Like, all of it was, and that's just one fight. Like, I'm using all of my tools, all of my weapons. I'm pulling people into me. I'm jumping over them. I'm countering. Like, it was so good. So anyways, guys, this is what we're going to talk about tonight. Like, we are here for gaming. We got some other stuff, but we're going to let the gaming talk overtake everything if given the chance, all the time. Enate, let's start next with you, sir. What have you been playing?
Yeah. I mean, I've been a little bit all over the place. I guess my maintaining thing, kind of like Logic was saying, the gas stuff is always just get my dailies done with Fortnite. That's just something I just kind of keep on the regular. But I have it down to a T where it only takes me like 15 minutes. So it literally is like nothing. And then I did try out Vampire Crawlers, which came out pretty recently. Same team from Vampire Survivors. They put that little spin on it, dungeon crawler, first person. It's a little different. It's not really my vibe. So that's why I was kind of curious. I mean, it was only $10. So I was curious to see what kind of magic they could work, since I'm not really a first person dungeon crawler fan. I'm always a fan of, I like to see my characters. I talk about that all the time. Especially when it comes to those type of environments. But it's pretty cool so far. I'm not far enough to really go crazy on it, but it's pretty cool. I did roll credits on Crimson Desert. I don't know why people keep acting like you can't beat that game. I keep seeing people like, oh, so-and-so's not going to beat it. They're going to drop it. This person's going to drop it. And I'm like, bro, plenty of people have beat that game. So yeah, 240 hours in Crimson Desert. And I have beat the game, and I still have a metric ton of content to play that makes sense, is tied to the world, that is just brilliantly done. It's just eventually I had to push the story, because I was like, look, I'm gonna end up with 16 new games waiting for me to play if I don't eventually push the story. So I had to. And I felt like I had done enough where I was satisfied. And that's kind of the thing with me when I play a game like that. I gotta be prepared enough. I gotta have the sword that I want, the armor that I want. I gotta be equipped like I want to be, before I make that push. So I felt like I did that adequately. Then I have also started Incombini, one story, many stories, little cozy type game. You're managing a store. in Japan for your aunt. You guys have kind of seen it over the weeks as it was coming out. That's been pretty cool so far. It's a lot more technical, at least trophy wise, to get some of these things. Like there's a really specific set of things you got to do to get certain events to trigger. So that's been pretty interesting going through that and playing that alongside Morgan. She's one trophy away from the platinum. So, and I found the solution that was for that was tripping her up. So that's been a lot of fun. I'm playing that as well. I did start Pragmata as well, which looks freaking ridiculous on the Pro. Recently got an internal resolution boost, so it's just gonna look even that much better with increased ray tracing. So game looks amazing. I have it there. I am playing it on PS5 Pro, but I do have it accessible via Steam Family on PC as well, so I could always run it again there if I feel the need. And then the only other thing that I'm really playing through, and I'm lying because there's probably 6 other games, but I'm trying to keep it to the stuff that I feel like is actually actively being pushed on, which is Replaced. That game is ridiculously captivating and very hard not to just get caught up in that cyberpunk atmosphere and the incredible soundtrack that guides you along and just pulls you into that atmosphere and immerses you into that world in such an incredible way. So yeah, I mean, I'm torn between a lot of really good choices right now, and I'm trying to wrap most of that up before early access starts for Forza Horizon 6. Since I went on ahead and I got the premium edition of that back in January. So that comes out on the 15th. So I still got about, a week and some change to get through all of this stuff. But yeah, I mean, once that comes out, I'm a huge car guy. Forza Horizon is one of my favorite titles. And Japan is probably my favorite place on this planet. So yeah, in combination with those things, I'm definitely going to jump into that head first. So yeah, a ton of great games. I'm trying not to start nothing else. Like, it's out of control right now. And it's not just new games. It's just some stuff that I haven't had time to get to. Omar is, breathing down my neck about wanting to talk about Quartet because he played it and beat it, which is like this indie style JRPG turn-based, which is a whole thing that I put him onto a while back, and I started
And
it.
you haven't played it yet?
No, I haven't finished it though.
You haven't finished it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But, again, Omar has day and night, all day and night to play whenever. I've been working all day. So, I got to play when I can. So, yeah, so he's foaming at the mouth, to have a conversation about it. And we were dragging him earlier because Omar does this thing lately where it's become popular on Twitter where when he finishes a game, he wants to relate it to something else. So he goes, oh, it's just like Octopath, or it's just like this. And
Sure.
we're like, no, it's not. Like, I get it. Sometimes games are just like another game, but he does it like too often and always wants to relate it to another game. But yeah, that's probably about it. I'm lying. There's more, but I'm going to stop right there.
That's all we're doing right now. That's funny.
Yeah, and that's with me skipping Saros. And do you see why I don't need that game?
No. See, that's where you're wrong, sir. You do need that game. The game is fantastic.
Yeah. And I'll believe you, and I will cheer for y'all from afar and hope that game is the greatest success that Housemarque has ever achieved. And I hate roguelikes, so I'm gonna let y'all have it.
No. It's not even a roguelike. It's a Metroidvania at best. That's what it's a Metroidvania.
Like Metroidvanias, so that don't help.
Okay,
See,
well,
it's a combination of two things I don't like. There you go.
Never mind. See? It's a 3D live action Metroidvania is what it feels like. That's what it feels
like. If Omar was here, yeah, I mean, you'd probably have to get him off the table. Yeah. Like, he'd be foaming at the mouth. Me too,
Hero. I hate him also, but I love Saros because it's the progression. That's what it is. It never feels like I'm getting punched in the nuts. And that's the difference. That's why it's better than Returnal, because Returnal, I felt like I was getting punched in the nuts every time. This
Yeah,
I
no,
can.
let me say, I probably, because of what you're saying though, I do know that they kind of gave you an ability to push forward, like you said, that progression, that new progression system. So I'll consider it when I'm not in between 400 games.
No, and that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I am very happy that I bought it also, Hero. I was telling somebody earlier that I do think the game is super deserving of its $70 price tag. But the problem is I believe that now after already spending $70 and playing the game for 15 hours. Like, I still think the game should have launched at 60, and I'll stick to that. But now that I've played it, I can definitely tell you the game is worth $70. It is a freaking masterclass in the way you do a roguelike, the way you do approachability. Like, they have this really cool system, and I'm giving away the review video, but they have this really cool system, whereas, like, nobody ever mentioned it. They just said they'd have, like, little on and off things and little options and stuff you could do. They've built this in to where, like, if you give yourself a buff, it, like, the buff may be rated for, like, +4. And, like, there's this range that you got to keep it in. Now, granted, you can be a full-on pansy and turn that off, but what it's meant to do is to be like a check and balance. Like, hey, yeah, you can make it easier, but you're gonna have to take a debuff also, and you're gonna have to take something that's gonna hurt you a bit too, because you have like a 4-point or 6-point range that you get to keep it in. Very, very well done with approachability on this game, and very, very good giving the option to people who want to play it in the hardest of conditions possible. You can do that. But if you've played the boss 6, 7, 8 times, and you're just like, okay, if I don't kill this boss soon, I'm just dropping this damn thing. It honestly, I went to the first boss like 6 times, and on the 7th time, I started using mods. I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I need to get past this to make it feel fresh. Now, I've ran through that boss like 4 times since then, and it's fun because it isn't capping my progression. And so it's been a wonderful time and a wonderful game. It's literally the best bullet hell shooter. I don't want to know if I want to go that much hyperbole, but it's really fucking up there. They did a wonderful job. There is not a frame rate drop. There is not anything. I never have a glitch. There's no screen tearing. They have a million things going on the screen at one time, causing the most anxious people in the world to be. I'm literally kicking my legs and bouncing my knees the entire time I'm playing it, because it amps me up so much, because there's so much shit going on at once. It's such a great game. Anyways, I was supposed to go last. Jez, how are you, sir?
Yo, what's up?
Welcome to
Doing
the Gaming
well. Hey, thanks, man.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I agree totally with Saros, man. It is absolutely incredible.
So good.
It is a great game. I've been playing that, and my other great game is Crimson Desert, which I can't get enough of that. So, but Saros pulled me away from that. Just to put it simply, and I said this on my show, the Saros is basically the 2026 arcade cabinet. Like, that's what it is. It's an arcade game. I could just see popping quarters into this thing. Like, if it was like a 2026 arcade, this would be it, because it gives you that rush and it plays like an arcade game. And I think they did a fantastic job with at least not making it, like you said, feel cheap, in the sense like you could, and there's a lot more choice in this, where I felt like in Returnal, it was sort of like there's a lot more randomness, that if you were able to get maybe like a good run, it was a little up to fate on how the randomness after each level would do. In this game, it seems like the randomness is there, but there's still choice where you could grind a little bit more and get higher levels and things like that, and prepare better for the boss, rather than hopefully that you got a good run, that you're good enough to get to beat the bosses in this. And that leveling up system is really cool, because it gives you that progression after you die. If you putting points into an abilities grid and getting abilities you get like second chance and stuff as like a permanent thing. It's not a drop like it was in Returnal. It's basically it's a permanent thing, so it makes you a little bit more risky, a little bit more willing to do more things or to grind a little bit rather than trying to get the perfect run to beat the to challenge the boss. And it's fantastic. It plays incredibly. The enemies are really cool, and it has that addicting loop where you just want to go back and play with your level up. Like, I got these now. I'm leveled up now.
Yes.
I'm going to go get them now. And also in the back, just like Returnal, in the back of your mind, you're also getting that simple thing that we have as gamers where we get pattern recognition. We understand the rooms. We know how the bosses work. And that, along with the leveling up, makes it fun.
Dude, it's so I actually have started mapping out my runs in a sense. Like, so now that I'm trying to, like, I've unlocked the second boss, but every time you go back without beating it, you have to like put the keys in the two pedestals again. So you have to do the left side room and the right side room.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
But what I've been doing though is doing full runs from Shattered Rise all the way through.
But can you decide to do both sides without the black hole? Like you could go without the eclipse, right? Or you have to do the eclipse.
I think you have to do the eclipse to get both of those in order to unlock the black hole. The
eclipse, because I just
eclipse.
came back and I had to unlock the eclipse, and now I could go either side, left or right.
Yes, that's what I had to do. You have to unlock it, and then you can do either side.
But the first time I didn't have to do that. That wasn't available the first time I went through.
Correct. And so the game, the way they have that set up, I think is really cool because you can start at the beginning, run through everything, and like you said, dude, by the time let's say you've been in the second world, the second area, 5, 6, 7 times. By that point, your character's gotten quite a few upgrades. Going back to the first area, it's so fun because you're like, hey, bitches, I'm back.
I'm back. That's right.
And I know all your tricks. I know all your patterns. I've been fighting the upgraded versions of y'all, and it is so well done. There are a couple things that the game tells you, but it tells it to you very quickly, so you may not see it. And so, like, I didn't know how to clear the corruption off of me. Thankfully, RPG 88 helped me with that. And
you got to use your power.
When he said that, I was like, no shit. Great. And so the game does a great job of, it's just fair. I think Hero said it best.
It looks incredible too. It looks incredible. And also I have to say, just from the second level and stuff, like the second level looks like it was pulled right from the Matrix. Like you're basically in like outside the Matrix. Like
you're
so
in
cool.
Zion.
Exactly. It is like Sentinels, and I'm like, yo, this is so different than the first map, Yeah,
and when those stupid in the first map, you're speaking of Sentinels, when they have like these Sentinel-looking bosses that will like flare out their tentacles at you and then spiral down and try to like bomb you.
Yes.
And you have to
so
shoot
satisfying
them.
to shoot. And they blow up with tentacles all over the place.
They do. Like they just go splat everywhere. And the melee in this, I find myself using it even when I don't have to, because it is pretty powerful. Like certain creatures that would take maybe a full clip to take down, you hit them with 2 melee attacks and they're dead. And it's also, there's buffs and debuffs that you can get related to your melee attack. And so like there's one that's like when you kill somebody with melee, you gain health. The best one that I had was one where I had like 3 things that said on kill, you gain health. On damage dealt with the special attack, you gain health. On this, you gain health. I didn't have a problem the whole time until I got to section 3 of the last boss. Anyways.
Yeah.
Look at these guys.
No, dude, it is really great. And they did a fan. Yeah. When you say it was worth $7, I'm like, yo, I wouldn't even question the price of this game. Like it really.
But I did before I played it. I was like, man,
I didn't.
man, $70. It should be 60. I could see 60, and then I played it, and I'm like, you know what? Never mind. this is 70.
The
all day
sound
long.
and the vibrate, like the sound, the production's incredible. Like, and I have to say, like the biggest thing too that Returnal didn't do was the story. Is they're giving you so much more story, and it's much more interesting than Returnals.
It is.
It's definitely like cool. It's like Event Horizon, Sunshine, that kind of like sci-fi horror stuff.
And I'm ready to see what happens with stacks, to be honest. Like,
yeah, dude, you look at the Eclipse and like people just gone crazy and they got glazed and they looked at and then if you zoom in, if you look at the Eclipse and if you just stay locking on it, actually you could see Asha's face and you could get Xbox glazed. So be careful. Be careful looking at the Eclipse and Saros. You don't want to have Asha's face and get glazed.
Maybe that's what's happened. Maybe people have been playing this.
Asha's a real life Saros. She's a real life friggin' Eclipse.
Oh man,
the Empress.
The Empress, yes. Yeah. So for the thumbnail, I thought about it way too late, but as I was doing the title for the video, I put Asha assembles team, and I was like, damn it, I should have had her mocked up in a freaking Avengers outfit, like
with the Empress,
with the set of shades on, like.
The AI team. Dude, I just put a Terminator. She came in with the Terminators.
I saw that half of her face. Okay, let's get started on the topics. Okay, so this was the question from Enate that he had posted, and we are going to get in. Once again, guys, hit the like button. Longer intro because there were 4 people, and so that just takes extra time. But here you go. Here's the question. When you're considering if a game is bloated or not, do you judge the game as a whole or only content mandatory to complete the game? So this automatically sparks thoughts in my head about how much I hate the question, but I love what the question is trying to ask. It's trying to get a conversation started about bloat in games and how we as gamers look at it. And like it says in here, hey, do you judge it based off a whole or does it? Really though, bloat is different for everybody. It's very subjective to the gamer. Also, bloat could mean, like this person says, just the mandatory stuff takes too long. Like, good example for that, a most recent game that came out, Mouse PI for Hire. That game is about 5 to 8 hours longer than it needs to be, and it's all mandatory content that I'm talking about. Like, there's just a lot of crap to do in that game. There's a lot of missions to run through. There's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of shooting. There's a lot of finding the clues placed around and having him pontificate and talk about the clues and how they all fit together. It's a longer title than it should have been. The game has a little bit of bloat to it. But there's games like Mafia, the old country that came out, where the one thing that everybody who I talked to at least said about it was, dang, I just wanted some more. I wanted more. They could have done this. They could have put this in. I wanted this to. So that game was not full enough. So, and that game was shorter. Mouse PI is a shorter title, about 25, 30 hours for the normal player. But like, one seems bloated and the other one seems like it didn't have enough, but then we play games like I have 100 hours into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And honestly, people said the game can get bloated. I never felt that because the game gave you a good balance on when you had to go do things and when you didn't. A game I do feel was bloated is like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I felt like once you got out of the first mission area into England and you're starting to build your first base, the game didn't do a very good job on spurring you to move forward, and it'll let you just stay in that area building up your base for like 40 hours like I did. That's too damn much. That's too much. You didn't do anything. So in that sense, the game is bloated. But I want to kind of hear from the panel and on how we judge these games. Like, bloated games are a pass for me. I don't have time, I don't want to deal with them, and I don't feel like I need to. But there's some people who like that shit. So, Enate, since this was your question, I kind of want to get your thoughts on bloat in gaming's Do you judge the game as a whole or on only content mandatory to complete the game? Let's hear your thoughts. What you got?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I mean, it's the answer for that is always the whole, right? The way the question originally came about was a conversation we were having in a group chat, and someone stated that they only ever considered a game being bloated based on the mandatory content, because they, in their mind, it was, if I didn't experience that other content because it's not mandatory, then therefore I wouldn't consider whether or not it made the game bloated. And I was like, well, I mean, that's just a factor of how you decided to play the game, right? But it doesn't mean the content is not in the game. You chose to play a game and not experience a game for everything it had to offer, and that's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's why we have, mainline, the mainline quest and so on and so forth, where you can just kind of push through it. I mean, we often talk about it where people race through in a weekend to try to beat a game, and they beeline it, and they got 2.5 trophies, because they just wanted to gun through there as fast as possible, start to finish, say they beat it, and then again, that's fine for some titles, and then other titles it becomes very apparent when someone really didn't fully play or grasp certain parts of a game because they did that, right? When we've had extensive discussions about some of the titles that we've played, it becomes very apparent when someone hasn't played enough of it or all of the available content, to really grasp the entire thing. So, I mean, I think that's another thing, right? Like, how much, this isn't just what are you just bloated, but how much of a game do you need to play per, obviously this differs per game, like you were saying, in order to know that you've actually fully experienced or played the game. I've seen people play certain games and then not experience enough of it and think they hated it, only to play through fully and then end up loving it, or vice versa. So in this case, the clear definition for me that I agree with as far as what bloat is, because that's something you have to establish in the first place, right? Because that was the initial question when it came up in chat. They were confused, like, what are you guys referring to as it? For me, like I said, bloat in itself refers to excessive low quality or repetitive content and mechanics that do not justify their existence, often added to artificially extend playtime rather than enhance the experience. So again, quality content that fits, that is meaningful, that is not repetitive, so on and so forth, fits, right? And that's why I said some games are just large, because this is another thing. Some games are just large, they're not bloated. For me, Crimson Desert is not bloated. It's just a big game. But again, you'd have to play it to really understand that, right? As opposed to Valhalla, where Assassin's Creed Valhalla is extremely bloated, especially if you have all the content, to the point where at one point I couldn't remember even how to get back to the main quest because I had so much crap on my screen. It was ridiculous. And I like that game. I have about 380 hours in Valhalla, but that's how
that was just the
bloated it
side
was.
missions alone, guys.
Yeah, it was just side missions and stuff all over the place. Like, it was nuts. And I, like, don't be wrong, I loved it. I was running around, like level 600, like just, curb stomping everybody. And like the power fantasy was all I ever wanted. Like, I was just a pure assassin. Just nobody could touch me. And I loved it. But it is bloated. I loved it, but I recognize that difference. And that's what kind of happened in the conversation when we went further into it, right? And that was something else that came up. Again, if you love the content, you still got to create the separation. This is something that I find gamers always have trouble with when they love a game. We've talked about this before, whether you can love a 7 out of 10 and still acknowledge that it's a 7 out of 10. It's
100%.
Yeah. But like, people hate sometimes when they really love the game, calling it a 7 out of 10. They're like, nah, that's not, I really enjoyed my time with Starfield. It's a 7.5 for me. And I'm a huge Bethesda fan, and I enjoyed my time with Starfield. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the ability to be objective in certain things and separate it from your subjective opinion. And I think that's really where this comes in for me. And we got, like I said, we got into more games where this is, right? You said Rebirth, you didn't feel like it was bloated, right? But there's a time frame where the director and them admitted that the game was bloated with, it's specifically with too many
Mini games.
Yeah. So the game itself, when you consider the whole of the content, it was bloated. And then also part of the content, even if it's mandatory, right? Even if we just consider mandatory, at some point you have to play the mini games. There's certain things that you need to get or need to do
but you don't
in
need to
order to
keep
push the
playing
story. You don't need to keep playing them.
No,
but
man,
it
that's-
frustrated me enough that I hated it. Because
So-
I had to face some people with the card game, and I wanted to smack a bitch. Like it drove me crazy.
I love
Yeah,
that
some
damn
of those
card
mini
game.
games are too much, man.
Yeah, it was
Card
killing
game
me.
was amazing.
Yeah, I
And the
went
problem,
Wayne
the thing
Brady
is that
immediately.
the game is like, the story is absolutely incredible. You just want to move ahead with the story, and it's like, no,
Exactly.
you got to do these races, you got to do this, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it just kept stopping me, and I
It
was
kept
like,
stopping
this
me,
Is, this
yeah.
is killing me, and I didn't want to stop to do it. But of course, like I said, if you love it all, like you just said, Thrifty, you were like, oh, I love that though, so you probably didn't consider that bloat. You were like, man, I'm having a ball. I'll do this for the next 40 hours.
I spent way too
And-
much time on the card game and the pirate shooting game.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it was your jam, and that's why I said, like, I noticed that was part of the conversation that was happening with the various parties involved, right? Because there's like 30 of us in this group chat, and so I pull up the main ones, Rebirth, and then I pulled up the main one that I know gets all the people's panties in a bunch all the time that are big fans of it, which is Elden Ring.
Oh.
And Elden Ring immediately, remember, I just read the definition, right, of what I consider it, right? What the definition that I agree with, as in what's considered bloated. Repetitive content, right, is part of that, right? One of the main things that they do in Elden Ring is they copy and paste a bunch of bosses across the world and reskin them all over the place. And again, that's not to say you can't have a ball with that, but that literally is verbatim what I'm talking about padding this content. And again, something a discussion I had, because I'm not a Souls fan. You guys have heard me say that before. But a ton of people I know that are huge Souls fans, actually, almost none of them, actually, it might be 100% of them, do not consider Elden Ring their favorite game in Souls. So none of them, despite how popular that game was and all the praise it got, they all felt like the tighter, more linear experiences served better, whether it was Demon Souls to Dark Souls 3, whichever one they like, or whatever. They all consider at least one of those titles, if not most of those titles, better than Elden Ring. Even though they enjoyed it, they recognized the flaws, after the honeymoon phase was over and they sat back and really thought about the game at hand. And again, that's not to say they didn't enjoy it, but they recognize, the artificial way that this game was extended or this world was filled with content in order to keep you going, right? So yeah, for me, that's the easiest way for me to describe it. And like I said, my answer ultimately is I always consider the whole. Like you said, just because you didn't experience it doesn't mean it's not there. So I didn't, that's why I didn't align with that when that person stated it was just the mandatory. Now, can bloat be part of mandatory? Yes. But saying that it is only considered if it's outside of mandatory content, no. Because again, we have all experienced some incredible things that are not mandatory in video games that are amazing, right? So if things on the side could be amazing and you tell people, hey, you've got to do this quest, hey, you really need to do this to really understand this and that, or get this really amazing sword and it's going to change your whole perspective on swords in this game, whatever it is, right? So if side content can be amazing, it can also be considered bloat. So again, you might not consider amazing side content, and you also might not consider bloated side content because you decided to beeline the game, but that does not mean it does not exist. And
Sure.
that's why I said you can't say that it only exists, because again, that's only in your realm in the way that you decided to play the game. Like right now, Logic was saying he's playing Arkham City, right? What does everybody remember about the Arkham series? One of the most famous things about the Arkham
Riddler
series
trophies.
is the
The
Riddle,
Batmobile puzzles.
Exactly. There you go. No, you did.
Yeah.
You did. Well, both of those. Both
Yeah,
of those.
both
The
of
Batmobile
those.
The
thing,
Batmobiles and
The
and
Batmobile
Riddler.
puzzles, I was like, yo, what the hell is this?
Yeah. So like those are two of the most iconic things, right? And it's like, again, the Riddler stuff, you don't have to
Fuck
do it.
those trophies.
You could
Fuck those
beeline it.
things.
Oh yeah. Eventually, like
Listen,
I
dog,
knew
it's
I
not
wasn't
even
ever going for
beelining.
that.
It's after 10 hours of trying to get the same damn trophy out of a cage. I'm not trying anymore. That's just
Yeah.
that's how that went. Like it's not even
No, but
about
but that's
beelining.
what I'm saying. Like, and then it's repetitive, right? He keeps making you do a bunch of different stuff to try and get to this single question mark or whatever to try and build up enough to fight him or to get to him or whatever. So again, someone could enjoy that, but it doesn't make that content again not annoying, which is the general consensus about that piece of content for the Arkham series. In a series that's otherwise beloved, right? People love it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my take. I don't, because we got a lot. I don't want to hear everybody's take. So
I like the way you really approach it and kind of you're trying to. And it makes more sense too now what you're asking and what you're kind of seeking out of this because you're bringing it from the subjective where each individual person can say, oh, well, yeah, I loved Witcher 3. It didn't have any bloat. Where somebody else could look at it and go, man, Witcher 3 is bloated as hell. Can you, like, all the side quests, everything, all the hunts, all of that, there's too much shit to do. The maps are too, like, so you're taking it from the subjective, which is the examples I just gave, to the objective, where you can look and go, yeah, kind of being able to collect 75,000 sandwiches in Starfield, that's a bit bloated. Whether you like that shit or not, that's a little too much. Like,
exactly.
And you can, or even Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, one of my favorite games. But like, I can definitely see how somebody can look at it and go, man, the chocobo races, the snowboarding, the motorbike, the freaking pirate shooting mini game, all of it, the way you have to use the chocobos to climb up the sides of mountains and then float through the air, everything that seems to waste time. Like, I can definitely understand, as somebody who may not slobber over that world like I do, can look at it and go, yeah, that's bloated. That's really bloated. I've actually talked with people who are like, man, once I got to Cosmo Canyon, I just beeline the rest of it. Didn't even care. I just
and then like I said, like part of the way to look at this, like you can have both, right? You can always have both. But if you are questioning whether or not you think something from an objective standpoint falls into that category, there are a couple of things, like I said, that you could consider. Did it feel excessive? Was it low quality, or was it specifically repetitive? Right, you can definitely, pull that out. Did it seem like it was added just to elongate the game?
Pause.
Like, hey, was this part completely unnecessary? It's more so like the way that you think about it, and like you've said that, like it's quite easy after you've trained yourself for a while and you've gained as long as most of us have to recognize when something you're like, that was completely unnecessary. They could have cut the last 45 minutes of that out, ended it after that one cut scene, and it would have been perfect. Like, we all know it.
But kept going. So
yeah,
Jez,
no parts annoying me is when there's a straight path and that's where you got to go, and then right before you get on that straight path, it's like, stop right here, you got to go left and you got to go right, and then you can go straight.
He's playing
and
Saurus.
I remember, dude, yeah, exactly. No, but I remember that part where in Halo 3, I think it was Halo 3, the end of it, or Halo 4, maybe it was one of them, Halo 3, Halo 4, I think it was Halo 4, one of them where like you had to go you had to do the right side and you had to do the left side, and I remember it was just a way of like, you just had to go straight, and that was where you had to go. That was the fight. But they were like, oh no, they just locked the bridge. Now we got to go to the right and do that whole thing, and then that arm, and then we got to go all the way to the left and do that arm. And I remember, when games do that, they kind of extend, but that I wouldn't consider that bloat. Bloat is I'll tell you what bloat is. It's called Ubisoft. That's all you have to know about bloat.
Oh,
Ubisoft
shit,
is
fired.
bloat. Dude, that's all they do is bloat. You open up a map and it has a billion items on it, and you're just like, what is all this stuff? And Ubisoft is known for that, where they just put layers upon layers of so much stuff on their map to make it look. And at first, when you boot up the game, you're like, oh my God, look at all this content. And then you go, oh man, I'm not doing any of this stuff because it's not very deep content. Like, see, that's where I think the word bloat gets a lot of the connotation of when it seems very just kind of purposeful as a redundancy of just eating up time. And it doesn't have any purpose to the story, nothing where it'll level you up. Like, I would say, like, you know, collectibles or like collecting little things here and there. If it didn't lead to a new ability or a new item or a new suit or something like that, like, it really is just there just to be there, just to kind of give you a carrot to keep you busy. That's what I consider bloat, because that's like biggest thing with side missions is if side missions actually are like multi-faceted side missions, or not just only fetch quests, but like if they kind of have a twist in them and they have some depth and story to them that interesting. Like The Witcher was my first foray into like, wow, these are what this side quest mission could have been a main mission because it just had so many different layers to it.
So good.
Yeah. And
quality. Which again, right? I said
that's quality. That's what it is.
So when
it's
the quality changed, it changed your mind on side missions because you were like, damn, that was so good and so meaningful that I love that. And that see, that went from bloat of like your expectations of what a side mission was and changed it.
Exactly. So I'll say a perfect thing of bloat is like, hey man, I'm trying to get this. That you go to a side mission, the guy's like, hey, I need to do my set up my farm. I need a cabbage. Can you go get me a cabbage? You're like, okay, I'll go get you a cabbage. And then you go get the cabbage and you bring it back to the guy, and when he goes back, he goes, thanks, but I really want a big farm. Can you do this 10 more times? And I'm like, bloat. I'm not doing it anymore. Keep your cabbage.
Yep.
That's what I mean. Like, dude, now do the same thing 10 times that you just did. And it's like, dude, that's just a grind to waste my time. And, you know, I'd rather have, like, you know, maybe if the cabbages have different, like, they're behind different enemies or things like that, where you add some variety. But if it's just collecting stuff,
if it was there to introduce you, to teach you in the tutorial aspect, how to do your farm,
exactly,
then it would be meaningful content.
Yep, that's meaningful. I wouldn't consider that bloat. But if it's just something where they just want you to do something to satisfy maybe a 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10, and then you get 10 out of 10. It's like, oh, here's a badge or something like that. Like, that's where it's always quality. And again, and you don't want to know what though, but just like you said, some people are collectible, like collectathons. They love that stuff, like catch 'em all, Pokemons. Like, you know, everybody they get crazy where it's like, why is that a 5 out of 5 done? I got to have a 10 out of 10 and perfect it. And there are people that are collectibles, or they just love to 100% stuff. I'm not like that. I want to get a thrill. I want to do that. So for me, those kind of things are bloat. But for other people, that's content, you know?
Yeah, and you brought up a good point, Jez. So, and Logic, I'll ask this question and then kind of spin this over to you. Do we think that with the introduction of trophies and the popularity that trophies and achievements have gotten, do we think that adds to game bloat on a very conscious level? Like, the developer is sitting there going, dang, we got to put one in here. Our name is Call of Duty. It's a shooting game. I guess our trophies have to be about shooting. How about we do 500 headshots? Cool, make that a trophy. Like, and then you have what feels like bloat, because you're like, damn, I got to do how much?
Well, you got to force you use a gun or something like that you don't like. Like, use a pistol. And it's like, I don't want to run around with a pistol.
Josh,
but you have to.
I know you're the platinum like king in here. I get that. What's up, Lunchy Sky? But like, just understand what I'm asking here. So, Logic, what do you think about that, man? Do you think that now that we've kind of handled the nuance side of it and kind of differentiating between the two, do you think that trophies and achievements have led to more bloat in gaming?
Well, I was about to answer the question that you asked me, but then you made that comment that you've dealt with all the nuance, and I'm like, no, you guys haven't touched the nuance at all.
I mean, we hated on Ubisoft. Ubisoft sucks. They do bloat games. That's it, right? What else do you need when you're talking about bloat?
About to come for your soul.
I know.
Hold on. Let me holler at Jarvis real quick.
I know he is. That's why I'm trolling him. Go ahead.
So I mean, so I'll answer the question you asked me. Yes, I do absolutely believe that a lot of the trophy hunting stuff can result in bloat. I'll just leave it at that. It's a simple answer. So my difference of perspective on this is just that overall term and label. I'm trying to be careful to not be as caustic as this might sit in my mind. Is one that I tend not to use because I feel like it gets overused. I feel like it's become tropish in that it doesn't really define the specific problems of things that people are complaining about. I tend to think of it in terms of games can have bloat, but I find it would be really tough for me to ascribe a game and typify it as being bloated. I think because a lot of it is so gamer specific, and that the thing that is a bloated game to you may be the exact thing that another gamer is looking for. I think one of the things that I personally feel like in conversations we have to be careful about is, right, we have this notion of bloat, but then we have this market dynamic of consumers on the market who don't want to be bothered by games that don't have 40, 60, 80, 100 hours of content.
Sure.
Right? Who feel like if you're asking me for $70 for a game, it better have a bunch of content in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have these people on the market who, like, will, and again, I'm not raising them up as like, pantheons and icons of gaming, but we have these people who will buy, who bought The Witcher 3 or Fallout, and will play that game, sometimes with mods on PC, but we'll just play that game over and over and over and over again, right? Engaging in all that content. And then they're going to sit, and they'll play that in like a gas game, like that in Battlefield or something. And they're waiting for Elden Ring, or they're waiting for Cyberpunk. And that's their thing. They want these big, huge games. So the games that we might describe as bloated are the exact thing that they're looking for if you're asking them to pay full price. Bloat to me, I mean, a lot of things that people describe as bloat to me are just matters of bad design. And bloat to me has to be a matter of something that is useless. A good example for me is playing Legend of Heroes Trails Beyond the Horizon. It would be very, very super easy for me to describe that hacking minigame as bloat. Because I fucking hated it. Right? Absolutely hated it. But
the orbit
read,
system, or the fact that they lock you to travel from one area to the next, even though you've already traveled the whole road, but it's locked off for some stupid ass reason and you can't travel. Like, those games could be considered bloated. But go ahead.
Yeah, so like the hacking minigame, but I'd read like the hacking minigame was one of the key things to up leveling, right? And that you would often come by resources that were critical that you needed, and resources that really enhanced you're making builds of characters. So I never bypassed a hacking minigame. One of the reasons why that game took me 100 hours, right? I never bypassed a hacking game, and I wanted so badly to, but I never did. But it's hard for me to think of that as bloat because it was actually useful. And you have tons of that in games. You have tons of like these little mini games and metas and things that don't feel particularly purposeful, but they are a way like farming. You could easily ascribe like the farming loop in a lot of games as bloat. Sure. But they're absolutely critical sometimes to investing in a build or getting to a thing that you want to get, or over leveling, right, to handle a challenge. Sure. So it's tough for me to platform off of that to call a game bloated. I do think like if a game has something in it that is entirely and absolutely useless, and this doesn't necessarily have to be content in the way we've talked about it as being activity based, but this can very frequently be a power or a skill set like that is part of a build. We talk about this a lot all the time. Like in certain skill trees, like you get this thing. Sometimes you get a thing that requires you to invest a lot of XP to get it, or it's a side or collateral skill that's default in a character, but that skill doesn't really make a big difference, right, in combat. And so to me, it winds up being useless, and it winds up being this thing that is taking up, occupying a button in your control scheme, or something that the game is trying to tell you to use or pushing you to figure out how to use, and it like literally makes like no difference. Like you can completely complete the game with almost never using this particular skill. And that to me is like an example of bloat. I differ with the opinion of the Ubisoft games in that, and we say Ubisoft games, but I'm gonna open up that description to more of just open world. You guys, I think you guys have heard me enough talk about how, you know, the games that I value the most are the games that give you a huge amount of provenance, the games that allow the player to define the meta of the player, the games that give the player the ability to kind of choose their path and decide who they're going to be in the world and go off and play the game how they want to play, even if it means like not finishing the main campaign. Yeah. You know, my 43 hours that I played in Starfield, I was not objectively primarily pursuing completing the mainline campaign. I did a ton of the side mission stuff. I, you know, did the Star Trek Voyager people. I spent most of my 43 hours in that game as a marshal. I did the romance storyline with the chick to go through and like do all her like heal her, you know, wartime trauma or whatever, right? And that's mostly what I did in that game. So I like games like that. But my point of that, and this goes very true for Ubisoft games, is in my opinion, it takes a while with Ubisoft games. But in open world games in general, the challenge it puts on the player is that you have to consciously and deliberately decide how you're going to play that game. Because you can easily get off tracked and wind up spending a ton of time playing the game and doing stuff in the game, but not really achieving a satisfying experience. I don't personally think of that as bloat. I personally think of that as like an Ubisoft game demands of you to open up the map and decide how you're going to go about playing the game. Far Cry 5, right? Gross. You get those 5 different areas, those 5 different bosses you need to take down, the, you know, religious allies or whatever in the family to take you down.
Amazing villain.
Yeah, I love that game in the background and the tapestry to it. That game kind of requires you to consciously think about which of those areas am I going to take down first? Am I going to focus on taking down an area, or am I going to kind of zip zap back and forth between the 5 areas, and then like amass a certain amount of like skills and equipment and gear and whatever, and then go take down the boss? Am I going to take down, you know? So there's a deliberate, conscious effort that you have to make. And the same is true, like even if I go to a Bethesda game, right? Because we all have this experience in Bethesda games where you get pulled and lulled into engaging in side mission stuff. A lot of games I have to consciously decide, like, I boot the game up, I start the game, I start my session, and one of the first things I say is, am I going to do any side mission stuff? Is this a 2-hour mainline session? Am I going to ensure that I am not going to be bothered, lulled, distracted, pulled to the side to engage in any bullshit, right? Or go mainline the campaign? And often I will go back and forth. I will have a session or 2 where I mainline, and then I'll have a session where I do sideline stuff.
Funny enough, that's exactly... Sorry, go ahead.
That to me is a matter of like a conscious choice, in my opinion, you have to make as a gamer if you are a, you know, what I'll call a time management gamer, right? A person who like has to figure out like how much time they're going to spend on a thing to get to a thing because this new release is coming up and blah, 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 blah. So again, it's not a label that I preoccupy myself. I tend to think more so in terms of there are things that are just bad design implementation. Sure, there are definitely things, and I am, at the end of the day, if I have to make a binary choice, I am a person who is more on the side of it's got to be mandatory content, right? It's got to be something that doesn't give me a choice to get by it. I think I've mentioned on this show, or you guys have heard before, like one of my pet peeves is I love racing games. Don't give me a racing game that mandates me to do drifting events.
Dude. Staple that to every
end.
Racing game menu. Like, can I skip your drifting bullshit qualifiers? Great.
Right.
I will.
That's funny you mentioned that, because obviously Forza Horizon 6 is coming, and I actually had to explain to somebody the other day that one of my biggest annoyances, despite me being a really big Forza Horizon fan, is all the stupid events that are mandatory for me to do that have nothing to do with racing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna. I love drifting, so I can't. I'll argue that all day. But like telling me to go play tag or bumper cars in like Forza Horizon is ridiculous. Like go push the snowball down the hill or something. Like whatever. Like doing all this random crap with a car. I'm like, dude, I'm a car enthusiast. I like the cars. I want to mod them. I want to mod them and then I want to race them. You know, or you know, if I built it for drift, cool, I'll go do that. If I built it for drag, I'll go do that. But like, yeah, having me go play tag with a bunch of people or hide and seek or all this other corny stuff that they always try to add, I'm like, please stop requiring me to do that. So yeah,
Right.
I get you guys' gripe.
And then let me ask you a question. Like for Forza, like these are things that have been perturbing me about Japan. I feel like they have not shown enough of like I thought there was gonna be more underglow, more kind of like night racing, sort of garage racing, you know, and seeing more of that Tokyo Drift or that type of stuff like Midnight Club type thing. And they have not shown a lot of that from what I've seen, and not really advertising that. And I thought that's why people wanted to go to Japan. It was like for the mod scene and like all that kind of nightlife racing, like all these Nissans with their underglows and their you know, spoilers and stuff. And they didn't really, I didn't say it.
Well, just what's been more important the last few weeks is making sure that you understand what the new vision document is for Xbox, making sure you know the
A
names
new
of all the
logo.
OpenAI.
Can I put the new
or all
logo
the,
on a car?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
I mean, you know,
Logic just got on this.
There have been things that have been way more important than, you know,
Of course.
doing any kind of Rolling Thunder marketing campaign.
Madam
for
Xbox was
arguably
talking.
the flagship IP of the entire platform. You know,
Right? And this is an exclusive too. Everybody crying about exclusives. Forza 6 is exclusive. Why is everybody not just embracing that? Because it is an exclusive, right?
Well, it's timed, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
It's an exclusive, but that's what they want anything. They want that.
Talking about how they can't wait for it to come to PlayStation than folks on Xbox side excited about playing it in 2 weeks.
But I just feel like with Forza, just the game by itself, before we saw roasting Asha, I just feel like I thought that the whole Japanese culture and that stuff was going to be some of that. And I know like ray tracing and lighting and all that shit. And I just feel like they just kind of, they got some cherry blossoms and Mount Fuji in the background. And it looks like, you know, the Mexico.
The only thing I'll tell you that don't write it off yet, because the only thing I see for that is a big DLC opportunity. And Forza's very big on that. And if they
like the underground,
I've said if they don't do a
like
an
an
Fast
underground
and Furious Tokyo drift style,
Need for Speed did it better, right?
Like I'm gonna get on them hard if they don't capitalize,
because it's not there, right? You haven't seen it either, right? I don't know if I missed it.
They seem more interested in telling me the people they flew to Japan to see the game and spend a week in Japan,
and how many people got review codes
telling me about the game. Yeah,
did you see that too? Everybody's like, I got a review code, I'm playing it. I'm like, dude, like, just review the game. Like, why is everybody having to say they got a review code and giving us the embargo date? Everybody.
Yeah, it's the coverage for it's been kind of weird, but I mean, I'm already clearly invested. I got, like I said, I got the, you know, for you know, all the people that tune into the show that think we all hate Xbox, by the way, you know, I bought the premium edition, and I just bought, my younger brother asked me for his birthday if I could get in the premium edition, so that's $250 I didn't spend.
Damn. Yeah, but I was just didn't know if you saw that stuff, because if that's why you wanted to go to Japan, like, I thought that's what everybody wanted for Japan. No, I mean, was that scene, right?
That's a huge thing in that scene.
I'm surprised they haven't shown that.
Cars that have crazy mods, and they're super loud and have crazy angled piping, and
the garage racing.
They would be insane not to capitalize on that. I think they've got some of the feel of Japan itself there. With the like you said, the cherry blossoms,
Mount Fuji in the background, some things like that.
There's another place, and you won't really recognize it unless, and you'll see it in the game and you'll get it. One of the bigger things they're working on with car meets, they have a spot here called Daikoku, which is like the most famous car meetup spot. Everybody goes there on a Friday night, whatever. I mean, any night really, but the Friday nights and Saturday nights are legendary. People bring anything and everything out there. And it's this huge spot that's in the middle of like the freeway, where they go down, and you go down in like this circle, and there's a huge parking lot where everybody shows up, and there's literally a car meet every night of the week. So they
they'll have
did
that.
include that. Yeah, they did include that and stuff like that. And like they seem like they're paying attention to the at least the things that people are doing, the players, like I said, like the car meets and all that stuff, giving us those and letting us have our own designed areas. So I think they'll have that. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. This is why I said like when I thought I seen a glimpse of it maybe from them when they had
Yeah.
the drifter. They partnered
Yeah,
with
the drift
Han.
racing they showed. Yeah.
Well, they have the drift racing, but also they partnered with Han from Tokyo Drift because he's
Uh-huh.
doing a new movie called Drifter. So, and it has the
Oh.
Hachiroku, the XE80, the AE86, which is famous from also Initial D. So again, like you said, there's a lot of opportunity here to do a bunch of crazy Japanese
Yeah, I'm
stuff.
surprised they just didn't highlight it.
And
That's
yeah.
why I was just
No,
like,
I
I
agree.
thought that was going to be the big, because at least that would give it some differentiation from the other Forzas, because that's always been my problem with the Horizons. It just seems
Yeah.
like a new backdrop. And
I hope
you
what
know,
we'll see is that they'll capitalize on that in some of the event structure and some of the stuff they have
maybe,
us do in the
yeah.
game, and kind of bringing stuff in that way, right? So I get they don't want to spoil everything, right? So maybe that will be the case. And I do know that they worked more extensively with Rocket Bunny, Veilside, and some of the other companies to make sure they're including way more body kits, way more accessories and stuff, like getting more into that customization. But we won't really know until we can really see it. But I 100%
Yeah.
agree with you. The Underglow, super famous. Like the
Yeah.
only place I'm gonna see Underglow for the most part on a Lamborghini is Japan. Like so,
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
really
because I
into
thought it
that
was gonna
stuff.
be a
So I get
little
it.
more night, like night racing. They would definitely show a lot more, and especially the fact that they haven't really shown emphasized the ray tracing stuff, and that people thought that immediately was that we're going to Japan. You're gonna it's like a big city that they're gonna have with lights and things like that, and you're gonna have the night racing with the rain and stuff. Like people will going crazy thinking that
Yeah.
that's going to be the new, and I thought that would be something that they could have really emphasized to make this much different than the traditional Forza festival racing dune buggy stuff, open world, with Mount Fuji in the
I think it's
background.
also why they're doing like the rags to riches story. This one, instead of,
Okay, yeah.
starting you off. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Like I pre-ordered and I already know there's like a Ferrari.
Oh yeah, well I'm not. I'm
So,
just wondering,
yeah.
like, if you saw more than I did, because I was like, I wish they would have shown more of that, because I would have much more interest in it.
No, yeah,
With that.
I think they will. Go
I
ahead.
think
What
you're
was you
gonna
gonna say, Logic?
I think you're going to get much closer to. I mean, I think there will be some, but I think you're going to get much closer to 80% standard Forza Horizon
Yeah,
than
that's
you're
what it
going
looks
to
like.
get to Need for Speed Underground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So
Unless
at risk, I will
DLC.
be
But
bullish.
2 weeks
I
from
will say,
release,
I don't think you're going to see Neon Underglow as a menu option in Forza Vista. Right, like so, like you go
man.
into the Forza Vista menu,
Yeah.
right, and you rotate the stick around the car, and it pops surfaces on the car that you can make mods. I don't think one of those mods is going to be Underglow Neon.
they had it in the crew.
I think it's right. I think it's going to be the same options that you've always seen in Forza Horizon. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I mean, this to me is what speaks to like the strengths of Playground Studios, in my opinion, are kind of the stuff you've talked about, Enate, right? So it is going to be largely a new backdrop, because that's been the
Yeah.
shtick. It's going to be
That's
go
the
to a new
thing.
country, model like intricately model the tracks and the racing circuits. And yes, there's going to be a big bright like neon stuff, but that's all going to be like background stuff, because that's Playground strength, right? That scenery, that backdrop.
Yeah.
The intricate car details. I think two things. I think number one, they're gonna put that on the design community in a lot of ways. And I don't know how you're gonna get like the stuff you ain't talked about, like with the extra body kits and stuff. I think you'll get a little bit of that, but I don't know that it's gonna get like super crazy.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get the standard ton of like anime skins and stuff like that, and that's what the community is going to be expected to do. I think Playground will do not a very small, but they will have a handful of stuff in not a handful. There'll be plenty of it. It will be car packs and they will sell it to
No,
you.
there will be car packs.
Yeah, and that's where you're going to find like the super
Yeah, I
crazy
saw the other
designs.
thing too. It pissed off people with like the legacy Forzas. If you play and unlock cars and stuff like that, people are like, well, what do you do with some games you don't have?
Right.
They did that too. Yeah, but again, this has always been my criticism of them. They talk so much, but they don't talk about the right stuff. Like we shouldn't be asking these questions 2 weeks before launch, especially with people getting flown out to Japan, people playing the game at 30 frames and having hands-on previews a month ago, and people now having review copies, and we still have all these questions and have to wait for an embargo to find out what that underground scene is. But meanwhile, they're talking every single day about logos, about backgrounds, about initiatives, and that's always been my problem. When it comes to the games, Microsoft seems to just go dumb and mute, and they do not celebrate their games. This game is an exclusive. They should have been all wrapped around it. Asha should have made this going like, this is the game to win back Xbox fans. But instead, she's trying to win them back with logos and FanFest and talking about new Core AI people. And that's how they're going to get back to Xbox. Meanwhile, there's a game, one of their best games in Forza Horizon, the game that really has not dipped so much in quality as every other franchise they've killed. And they're not embracing the game. I already see the problem with this new regime. She's working towards the glazing, the social media aspect and the parasocial shit, and not embracing the games. And they're gonna fall right back on their face again in another year. She'll be gone too.
And so listen to this.
There's my rant.
Because
Does anybody even know that Kiln came out?
Kiln. Dude, that
I'm
came
not
out
sure
the same
Xbox
day.
that came out.
Yo, that came out the same day that she was saying return to Xbox.
Yep.
Yeah, it came out the day that she leaked the they leaked the internal memo to the employees.
Oh,
Yeah, they
wow.
leaked it. They put it on Xbox Wire.
But
I've never seen private memos getting put on their own website as like news. I saw. I'm like, what the hell is this stuff? I'm like, memo. I'm like, it's like, this is what she sent to her team. I'm like, should we be seeing this, Microsoft? Like, it's on Xbox Wire. Look what she said.
This is not for
I mean,
our eyes.
They're leaking their own shit.
I think Logic said the other day, like it's clearly written.
Yes,
be,
Logic.
Yeah,
I remember Logic said that. Yeah.
Yeah, to be it's like shown to us. Like
yeah.
it's like
I think Logic said that's why that whole Logic, that whole exclusive thing was in there because they knew exactly where this was going.
So and here's the
Like, why would their
problem.
internal staff care about it?
Here's the problem.
why
that
would
I see. Y'all, they keep we've brought up Forza 6 a lot over the past 10 minutes or so, and she says today, May 5th, or no, actually this was yesterday. Xbox needs to move faster, deepen our connection within the community, and address friction for both players and developers. The only friction that there has been for years is that you keep promising us good games, and then either when you have a good game, and I'm talking about Xbox as a whole, not necessarily Asha, but she needs to understand that this is the pattern that has been going on for a long time. They don't sit there, they don't market, they don't hype it up, they don't do anything with it. When games are out there, or when games are coming out 2 weeks away, your biggest tentpole, the most consistent franchise that you have, when you sit there and you're not actually pushing it, what do you mean by deepening our connection with the community? 2 weeks away, we should know. We should know how it sits. We should know what kind of game it is. We should know. It shouldn't be like, oh, hey, there's this one little menu that we didn't tell y'all about. Good job finding it. Have some fun with it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, Underglow is. We don't want to spoil it.
Right. We don't want to spoil that. It's more of an arcade style. You mean so I'm just supposed to guess when I give you money? I'm just supposed to just say, hey, it's Forza. I like Forza. That's going to work on some people, but it ain't going to work on everybody. They need a reason, and you're not giving them one. Right now, Xbox is in such a fragile state, and the move that was made to put the freaking, let's see, to put the 3 goobers who came from AI, Core AI, where she came from.
5.
Five?
Well, 5 people. She brought 5 people
on her team.
It wasn't 3.
Like, just tells me that when she says stuff like this, she doesn't even mean it. And then listen to this shit. Today we promoted leaders who helped build Xbox while also bringing in new voices. So the guy, Jason Ronald, the guy that hasn't made a competent console.
They count him multiple times.
Right. This.
New leaders. Who'd you promote? He was the only one that I heard who got promoted.
He's the only one that I heard of.
Why using the plural?
But
I know he's big, but that's insulting.
That's insulting. But like,
I know the guy's on the large side, but you shouldn't count them as two people.
And why are we promoting people like Matt Booty and Jason Ronald who sit here and literally, if they're the reason and if they're part of the reason why you're in this position, they should be fired along with Spencer and oh hell, what was her name? Sarah. She wasn't there long enough for it to matter. But like, it's absolutely asinine, and it should be a slap in the face to every single Xbox fan out there when they say things like we need to deepen our connection with the community and address friction for both players and developers. Yeah, developers don't want to have to develop for your potato. That's the problem with your developers. Stop making a fucking potato and they'll want to develop. I solved your problem for you, pay me. Players want good games and they want to feel excited about good games. You know what doesn't feel exciting after the first couple times? Getting a freaking game as part of your subservice every single month that you're not going to have time to play. That's a brand new title that you secured that nobody after a while really gives a flying fuck about.
That's crazy.
You diminish.
2 years.
I mean, here's a big problem, right? I mean, we've talked about the Forza Horizon thing, right? Lots of other publishers at this point would have dropped a new trailer. They would have dropped a long play, right, showing tons of content. They would have dropped like an hour and a half. They would have dropped new sizzle reels. They would have had commercial spots. They would have had an additional ad somewhere. Like the only place that I've seen Forza Horizon 6 is I saw it. It's in a little like sub-tier tile row on my Netflix account. Right, there's some like 5-minute or 15-minute thing that you can watch if you tap it. Of course, I didn't tap it. But I'm like, this is, and not only is this your flagship title, right? Because as Jez said, right, they've ground all their other IP right down to nothing, not to nothingness, but to, severely blunted instruments. But like this is now your flagship title. This is now your biggest thing. This also kicks off the tornado that is supposed to be your 25th anniversary year whirlwind tour. It is a thing that is coming out 2 to 3 weeks before your biggest showcase, arguably ever in the history of Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And you are, forgive the term, you are pussyfooting around with how you are treating this IP, running around, talking about a bunch of excess bullshit that no one should care about outside of your Xbox core faithful. And this is where I go back to like your marketing and who you're speaking to. You, Asha, are on record as saying it is your job to return Xbox to growth. But the people you are talking to are the same consumers that you already have invested.
Correct.
There is no growth there. And you are not taking your core IP that is kicking off one of the biggest release years in the history of your platform, and you are not taking that IP to use it as marketing platform and banner waving to talk to new consumers that you want to bring on board. And here's the big telltale heart of today. Who is the Miyamoto at Xbox? Because what happened today, as I was sitting at a lacrosse game, like 29 minutes before it went down, Miyamoto steps up on Twitter, taps the mic. Is this on? Is this on? Hey, it's Miyamoto here. We got a Star Fox Direct that'll be on in 15 minutes. See y'all when it goes down. I'm out.
That's it.
The freaking internet exploded, and it is still going off. That is what you need to be doing as Xbox.
That's it.
That is the gravitas you need to have. That is the cultural weight that you need to have sway with. And they don't have that moxie. They don't have that swagger. They have all the arrows in the quiver that they need to.
Yeah.
But that's not who they put in place.
That IP.
They don't have a big content creative mind like a Miyamoto. They don't have somebody like a Druckmann or a Cory Barlog. But the yahoos that they are parading is the guy who gooned up GitHub and has bounced from project to project to project. Right? Not adding any value, but keeps failing upward and getting promoted.
Yep.
They bandy about Matt Booty, who again ran around and did a podcast with Xbox Wire the week that Kiln came out. And as far as I can tell, didn't mention one word about Kiln.
Nope.
And I'm like, what are we doing? Like again, if you're invested in the Xbox ecosystem, like, how are you feeling happy with the way that literally billions of dollars are being spent, right? To be the circus coordinator over this set of Keystone Cops. Like, I don't get it.
But dude, they're not even critical enough. Like, yeah, they were good. Everybody's celebrating all these games. Soros again played. People talking about Star Fox, and they're talking about a boot up logo that's going to launch next week. Like, they are going crazy. Like, I never seen, and she is going right at them. And what's crazy is that if you look at the Forza marketing stuff, it's billions of all these people FanFest. Like, if you attend FanFest, I guess you get free games, because these people that don't even have review channels are like, yeah, I got a review copy of Forza. I'm like, you don't even do reviews. You don't even have a rating system. What the hell are you getting a copy for? Like, they just give free shit out, so those people just keep promoting them. And it's like, you know, that guy Stallion who had like the achievement stuff. He got it. Cobra got it. I'm like, why are these dudes getting it? They don't do reviews. Like I got a review copy, and they got to say thank you, because it's legal that if they get something for free, they got to come out and say it. Mm-hmm. So your feed is now filled with all these people that you're just like, review? You got a review? I'm currently playing Forza. And I'm sure they were all programmed because they had the same tweet. I'm reviewing the game. Embargo lifts on the 14th. My impressions on the 14th. And they just ran through everybody, and that's all I saw today. And I'm like, I don't give a shit if they're playing review copies. What is the game like? Like, why don't you, like you said, drop a trailer? Staros, all these games, Sony builds up the games, showing more and more features, more and more engines, more and more villains, enemies, weapons, like all this stuff that they should be doing with Forza and any of their games, and they don't. They go quiet, and then they just talk about this stuff. And I think she's really setting them up to knock them down, because I've said her job is to tell these Xbox guys to turn a PC into an Xbox, and that's what she's doing, because she didn't wait to learn. Second weekend, she announces a new console. Does that make you want to go buy the current console on store shelves? She sent out t-shirt packages to people wearing this stupid stuff. They don't even have a product on store shelves. That people wearing that Helix shirt, they go, "What's that?" "Oh yeah, it's a thing that's Microsoft's making." Oh, devs are not even having dev kits on it. Nobody, it's nothing. It's vaporware, but they're wearing shirts about it, and she's putting logos about it. It's just crazy how quickly and targeted she is at the same people. It's like, just like you said, at the same people. She's not growing, but what she said in her bullet point, and I said it all the time on my show, she wants to stabilize Gen 9. She wants to just keep people there in a holding pattern, feed them pretzels and water while the plane is flying around, so they could land right into PC land. Because that's exactly what she's doing with them. Okay, guys, well, I'll give you another round of pretzels while we're in the flight. We're circling the airport. And just when you're all glazed up, we're going to land right here, and it's going to be a PC in front of your face. And what's crazy is they just did that to the same people last year. At this time, we were talking about ROG Ally handhelds, Microsoft's handheld, and they called it an Xbox until it released and said, bullshit, this is not an Xbox. This is a PC with an app. And they're doing it again. And these people, they just love it. You know what I say? I'm going to watch it burn, because I've been watching it burn. And I'm going to laugh my ass off when she pulls the rug from underneath them, because these people are going crazy for her. And they're like, look at her. Some guy was tweeting me today. He told me, look at her. What the hell he says? Oh shit, now I forgot what the hell he said. He said to me, he's like, look at her tenure or some shit like that. I'm like, tenure? He goes, look at what she's done already. I'm like, Phil came in the first 2 years, took Connect out of the box, dropped the price, gave you backwards compatibility, gave you seasonal updates to your dashboard, said he's going to listen to fans. She's doing the same shit. She's just doing it in like 3 months when Phil did it in 2 years. Phil did the same thing. And he's like, well, Phil burnt out. You know, I'm like, dude, wait, how many quarters you think she's going to use that same tweet? Shit's not going to change. She could change the logo blue, pink, red, and orange. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody's buying this thing.
They're writing the bullet points
They
for
are.
for her to walk on stage and be like, look at what we've done so far. And she's gonna list all that, those little tinky winky changes that don't really change anything, by the way. So
Nope.
her removing the whole everything's an Xbox campaign is irrelevant because they haven't stopped doing the strategy. Like that, like so
Pull it
it's
off
like
of
you were
Steam.
you were more concerned about the phrasing than or the slogan than the actual act of something happening. But it's not gonna matter. She's gonna come out Erica Kirk style with pyrotechnics, and she's gonna RKO a PS5, and they're
Yep.
all gonna cheer, and the green
We're back.
pyrotechnics are gonna go off. We're back, baby.
Yo.
Xbox is back, and then they're all gonna they're gonna reenact that picture where Colt and all the the influencers were at breakfast, and they're all gonna throw up the X
they love
signs,
FanFest. Oh yeah.
yeah, they're excited. They
Yeah,
all got
they're
tickets
excited.
already.
And what's hilarious
yeah.
is that if
They
you
didn't
said the
pay for
word
it.
console wars last year, you were like a pony, put you in the stables and stuff. But meanwhile, when they go, the console wars are back on. Nobody's keeping any of them in check going, hey man, what about we all play, we all win? Like there is no people, the same people not keeping the other ones in check. They're like riding this just like it's fine.
Dude,
but
the
if
folks who are
those
getting
words
their jollies off about the damn
Right?
console war now, I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't y'all
Yeah.
y'all just told us that the console wars were bad?
was over, we lost.
And-
Like you won, stop picking on us. It's like that's what they were saying. Like, stop, leave us alone. You won. You're so. I'm like, oh,
Hey, listen, all it took was her to come in, and now exclusives are good again. The console war is good for business,
Exclusives.
great for gaming. The
Do
Xbox
it.
community is stronger than it's ever been before. Jason Ronald is
yo,
a
I want her to
genius,
do
and he's gonna
exclusives
go
so
ahead and-
friggin' bad.
It's great. It's
I would want her to do it.
everything is amazing. She's not going to turn it into AI. The best thing that came out of her right now, that came out of her mouth, is what she says in this interview, where she talks about, not the interview, but when she talks about how they are canceling Copilot for consoles. They're no longer working on that, and they're trimming it back for mobile. But the reason why they're canceling it for console, Jez, you hit on this, is because that plane that's circling the toilet drain before it lands somewhere is going to go straight over to PC. Do you know what's already on PC? Anybody want to take a guess? It's fucking Copilot. Hey, guess what? You don't need, if you're migrating everybody over from the certain platform called the Xbox over to the Xbox app on a Windows device, you no longer need to have two co-pilots. You get to consolidate.
Exactly. You don't
and
need
do
devs
more
working on it either.
with less. It's amazing. This is the same playbook, and that's the part that gets me. Like, I am okay with her coming in and trying to make big changes. God, I hope she would have. Come in, make big changes, show us that you actually know what the hell you're doing, and that you can right this ship. Because, Lord help me, I want to see you better. You're doing the same thing as before, and it's not going to work, because I think it was it was either Jez or Logic, I think, that said it first, but it was one of y'all two that basically said she's not getting anybody new. And what brings in new people? Why does a developer, why does a publisher like Wizards of the Coast, who has made like 3 games ever, know that with their new AAA title, Exodus, that you need to have that game built up? You need to tell the story. You need to give a hook to it. You need to let folks know what the combat is. You need to show them the enemies. You need to get your main actors and actresses out there doing voice work for it to show off their voice. When they revealed Matthew McConaughey as the lead character, like, when they did that, it was a big deal. It was because they knew that they're trying to build up hype for this game that's going to come out, and they need to have a presence. This is from a company that is owned by one of the worst companies out there in Hasbro. And even they know that, hey, we have to market. And I guarantee you, I've seen the Wizards' financials. They do not have the same amount of money that Microsoft has by any stretch of the imagination. But even they know that, hey, this is well worth it, because they are building something they're trying to build a community around this game. They're trying to let folks know, hey guys, this is the same folks who did Mass Effect 2. Like, this is the same blood that's in this game. Here's all of how it looks. Like, it looks like this. And they're going about it in the way that is showing people that, hey, we are giving you a reason to purchase our product. You may not heard of us, you may not like Mass Effect, but we are going to give you as much stuff as we can as a reason to purchase instead of a reason to sit on your butt and not open your wallet. Microsoft, on the other hand, with Xbox, is only giving people reasons to forget about their game. Like, that's it. Kiln, great example. I didn't even know the damn thing released. Hogwarts Legacy, another example, released everywhere, but because PlayStation marketed the shit out of it, people thought it was an exclusive. Like, that's Expedition 33. It was in Game Pass. They marketed it. The people from, wow, that just left me. What the hell was their name? The developers, Sandfall Interactive. Those people marketed the shit out of the fact that they were on Game Pass. They thanked Xbox. Thank you so much for putting us on Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. Really, the deal really helped solidify. Like, great job with that. Why does a multi-billion-dollar company not realize that the key to their success is way easier than they're trying to make it? Make great games.
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion, my bad. Sorry.
$1
trillion.
Yeah.
We don't have money to market the shit out of a game that could sell consoles for us again. Oh, but don't worry, guys. The reason why consoles aren't selling isn't because of a lack of demand. It's actually because
tapping
of a
into
lack
the
of
community
supply.
or
Yeah.
close to the community. I don't know what the hell that
Who knows?
Yeah,
Who
I don't know
knows
what
the fuck
that means. But like the thing is, I feel like, and what's funny is they keep saying great games and great games. I think they treat games over there like how, like I said, like how Satya calls a console a Nintendo. How your mom is just assuming any game is a great game. Like there's no delineation as to what we need to do a next level of quality and delay it for that reason, and what's like a mediocre game. We can't let it come out like this. We got to take it back to the drawing board. We need to fix it. There's no checks and balances, and we know that because Matt Booty's been there and he has single-handedly destroyed every friggin' franchise. The name is fitting what he did to every single franchise under his realm. With Gears, Halo, my God, Forza Motorsport, that's forgotten about now. So Horizon's the last great hope for Forza now. Meanwhile, Forza Motorsport was like every 2 years was just a quality racing game, and then they took 6 years off, and then they came out, and the game was dead in a year. No more content and stuff like that. They've killed everything. Hellblade 2, another thing. Redfall came out under his watch. Starfield. All these things were under Booty's watch and destroyed it. And now the guy's still there, promoted. There's going to be no change in the quality of games because he views games, as he said, as production, like assembly lines. How many games can you pump out? No, there's no quality control. There's nothing. They just assume we got games. And Asha doesn't know anything. She's just like, yeah, we got games, great games. It's all about great games. Just like, make everything great. Make it great. Well, what is great? It's just great. We got everything is great that we make. It's like, no, you got to step it up. And she has no goddamn clue. And what's crazy is that she came in with no friggin' clue. And she just surrounded herself with a whole bunch of executives that have no friggin' clue. So she's not, and what's crazy is the people that left, 24 years experiences, dude with UI and Xbox production and publishing, gone. The woman who worked on Xbox devices and Xbox other things, 24 years, gone. Those are the people that she should be surrounding herself with and promoting to help her understand the Xbox culture and what Xbox needs to be. Instead, what I said today in on X was that this is finally Microsoft has taken control of Xbox. We talked about how like with Sony and Bungie's trying to stay independent, but then Sony said enough of your shenanigans. We're going to take control of your board and shit if you don't hit the numbers. Well, I think that's exactly what they did to Xbox. They gave Phil that ultimatum, that 30%. They knew he was going to fail. They knew they were going to have shit numbers. They fired everybody. Phil and Sarah gone. We don't want any of there. And what Microsoft basically did was inserted a plant and hostily took over Xbox. And now Microsoft has full control over Xbox. That's exactly what it is. They said, okay, kids, thank you for what you did all these years. Get out of here. Big Daddy Satya has plans. And they're going to drive this shit into the ground. And I'll tell you this, that's exactly what she's doing, because when she started, she didn't stop and learn and wait. She came out the second week and announced a new console. And within 2 days, she started following all the toxic copycat glazes that like it was like really, of all the people, those are the people that you're starting to follow. You're a top level executive. What are you doing? Another point I wanted to make, and that was the one reason I wanted to come on here, was don't you guys think it's so strange that all this Xbox news is all coming from her Twitter account? It's not coming from Xbox Wire. It's not coming from the teams that developed the UI or anything like that. It's not even coming from the Xbox.com Twitter account. It's all coming from Asha's account. Her account has turned into news. And what's crazy is that Phil Spencer, that son of a bitch that we didn't like, he never, in all my years, could remember that Phil Spencer's Twitter handle was a source of news. She is using that account as basically an Xbox blog, because every announcement, the logo, the Project Helix, the memos, her messaging, the taking away of Call of Duty and what she's done and the updates that she's been given to Xbox, it has not come from the Xbox.com. So like you guys said, what audience is she talking to? They're not talking to the public that go to Xbox.com. They're not talking to anybody else except the influencers that they got eating out of their hand anyway. People that follow Asha on Twitter. Don't you think that's really strange that all the news, all this shit is feeding from her, and then like Windows Central takes it and stuff, but it's, you follow her, that's basically like an Xbox blog, because all that, the logo, the updated boot signal, a brand new console, all came from her, not from the team that worked on the logo, not the team that worked on the UI. She's getting credit. She's taking credit for doing it and announcing it. Oh, it took us 2 weeks to do this. She has basically inserted herself that we talk about the bubble of AI. We're going to see the bubble of Asha blow up like nothing before, and she will be out of here. Not because we want her out, because she's not going to stick around for the wrath of this fallout that's going to happen, because she doesn't know how bad Xbox is. And get ready. She did that tweet about, oh, we got to do better. You better get ready to copy and paste that forever until you quit, because it's never going to change those numbers unless you get rid of them, which that's what's going to happen. That Xbox hardware, that's going to come off eventually, because that's their plan. But the other stuff, the services and shit, it's never going to change, because the thing is always the games, and that stuff has never changed unless they bought another publisher. That's the only time those numbers change, with content and services. But anyway, as my rant, I tell you, it is diabolical, the shit that's going on right now, that it's insulting to us as gamers to watch a corporation of that size treat us like we are just lemming, brainless idiots, and that we're just going to follow them off the cliff. And I think that's disgraceful. So that's why I grind those gears and deglaze those sons of bitches, because I will not be treated like that from any goddamn corporation.
Yeah, she's definitely doing.
We are smarter than all of them.
She's definitely doing a lot of stuff that doesn't make any sense. It's stuff that we've gotten onto PlayStation before in the past, like missing the mark on some things, but it's just so consistent. Well, on the Xbox side, that's why Raichi earlier.
It's diabolical. It's disrespectful to the fans.
It is. It
is. Like, Sony and Nintendo do their shit. Like, Fox MacLeod looks like a goofball. But, like, at least it's a new game, dude. But still, like, they do their shit. But Microsoft, I feel, does it very intentionally to get PR out there. And I don't feel like, I don't feel like Sony's going out there sending doing all this stuff. Like, they do their own shit, but Microsoft does it to a T and disregards their games.
Yeah, that's the problem. And Logic even posted on his X page, still waiting for posts to talk about making great games the priority above all else. Yep. Nope, we're not going to get that though. It's not happening. That's not something that they are interested in. And
tomorrow they're talking about Helix.
Man, listen, you got a brand new logo. They're talking about Helix. It's great. Jared Palmer is now posting stuff. Excited to share that I'm joining Xbox as VP.
That's that
and technical advisor.
GitHub guy.
Yeah. I'll be focused on building world-class tools. Oh shit. We got more tools. They got
Tim the Tool Man there too.
Look at this. I can't make this shit up.
They got Tim Allen's there now. They got the full set.
We got more tools. That's great, guys. Now with those, they'll be able to do what? Not make great games. They're going to focus on building world-class tools. They're going to build tools to make more tools. And then when they do that, they're going to have all the tools in a circle, and everybody.
Somebody tell them they're 6 years into generation. What tools are they making now?
You get AI tools, I guess.
AI. No, they killed AI. That's what they told you yesterday. AI is dead.
Yep, they're having to refocus.
Asha's fighting Satya
to refocus their AI efforts.
Yeah, refocus.
We're going to refocus.
Yeah, they're refocusing. They're not focused on Xbox.
Speaking of refocusing, let's get into the other topic tonight that I thought was pretty cool. Because honestly, we could sit and talk about Xbox for the whole damn show. But
they don't stop talking, though.
They don't stop talking. They don't. King Thrash said it best. I'll never forget. He did a video basically replying to all the folks. This was a few years back. He made a video replying all the people who were like, man, you never talk about Sony. You always talk about Xbox. And he goes, okay, so what do you want me to say? Do you want me to say that Sony's games come out and sell a ton, that their systems move because their exclusives come out? No, that's not news. That's just what happens. That's a Tuesday.
Exactly.
Like, what do you want me to bring up? Do you want me to bring up what? Like that Sony's game came out and performed well? Like, there's nothing bad to talk about. What, the live service push? Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, he just went down the whole list of what was going on in Sony's world at the time and then flipped over to Xbox's list. And it was like just bad headline after bad headline after bad headline. And I'm like, man, it's the reason why Xbox gets shat on so much is because they talk so much. If you shut up, people can't say anything, good or bad. And you'll get those outliers that come out like we do sometimes when Sony's too quiet and goes, man, I wish they'd say something. But at the same time, them being silent is stopping about 90% of the bullshit. Just let it get it would not have been that big of a topic if they came out and said, hey, we've promoted these 5 people from OpenAI. Asha has picked her team. These are the people she wants around her. She's very familiar with them. This is going to help her comfortability in the meeting rooms, and it's going to be a good jumping off point to move in these directions. These guys are qualified, blah, blah, blah. Cool. We would still bash on them for being AI driven and all that and make our little fun jokes here and there. But cool, whatever. But then when you come out and start talking about, hey, we want to do this. We want to connect with the community. We want to make it better for players and develop. How? Because now you've raised 5 more questions when I didn't really have any. You've given me my own questions. Like,
and you weren't doing that before? Nobody asked that.
Like,
what happened? This was happening when you walked in the door?
Right. Like, what's been going on? So anyways, like I said, guys, we could talk about it forever because they won't shut up. But
1-3 Thrifty, they when talking about credentials, man, they looked at LinkedIn, and if Sony employee had something, the words of other platform or PC, they said day and date's happening. Meanwhile, these gay people come in with no credentials at all, and they're like, nah, this is great. Asha knows what she's doing. Dude, they're looking at LinkedIn profiles and seeing like if there was a word PC in anybody that worked at Sony's name.
Oh, for sure.
Like, and now it is so pathetic, and it's not going to amount to anything. And like I said before, I can't believe 6 years later, in the search for W's, all they get are L's because they're looking for the wrong things. It's about the games. And what they're trying to do is create this FOMO thing, like something's happened at Xbox. Don't you want to be part of this? Something's happening. It's like, dude, it's a nothing happening. Somebody brought a party favor and is wearing a party hat, but there is no fucking party. We're not going there. Like it is like the most desperate thing that's going on. It's like, no, it's a party, and you go there and it's like one dude with a party hat on and like a cupcake. It's like, yo, there's nobody here. He goes, yeah, but I told you it was gonna be the biggest party ever. It's like, yo, what's going on? And that's what they're doing with this. They quickly rallied around her and I asked this question: what is an Xbox? We still don't know to this day. You ask what return to Xbox? What Xbox?
Yeah,
you just said we're going to
one?
What? Which one?
Which one? Because two of them kind of could maybe get some people shaking in their boots, but then again, two of them nobody really gives a shit about. So which Xbox are you going back to? The other thing.
Oh, the next hardware will play PC games. I'm like, that don't sound like a return to Xbox because Xbox didn't play PC games.
So
but it's a return to Xbox.
The problem that these companies are facing is the next topic that we're going to talk about tonight. 62% of hardcore players no longer buy full-priced games, survey suggests. Now, this is from VGC. Now, this is pretty interesting because anybody who's in the Discord, anybody who comes on the channel, we still game. I don't care if you game 900, 800, 700 hours a year. According to data, you're gaming more than most people, more than the average gamer. And so there's a lot of folks who come on here who I would consider in the hardcore category. But what this is saying is that hardcore players at 62%, that's the rate, are not buying full price games anymore. So what they've done is they've actually gone through and they've done this study, and it's not with Anal Analytics.
That clown group.
It is actually with Kantar and UC Berkeley, it looks like. Unless it's supposed to be Berkeley. Either way.
Yes, but it is a survey commissioned by IGN.
Sure. So it's a survey commissioned by outside party though, right? Like IGN doesn't own Kantar and UC Berkeley.
Oh, no.
Right. Okay. So it says this. According to the report, 38% of millennials ages 30 to 44 and 42% of Gen Z, those ages 14 to 29, said they still buy full price games, but only 20% of people aged 46 to 61 said they would. So we see the older you get, the more those numbers keep dropping. Well, if the average gamer is, say, 30 to 40 years old, they only have a few more years until we start dropping off to not purchasing new games. Now, when you start looking at those kind of numbers, you have an even bigger issue at hand, because now you want to sell a console to people to play new games to a 62% customer base, broadly speaking, that isn't really buying new games. And if they do, they're not buying a ton per year. You know, not every single person is. A lot of folks are like me, where they limit themselves to 2 to 3, maybe 5 new full price games per year. And I've stretched the number a bit because I'm including games like, Coffee Talk Tokyo that's like $20. Like, I'm going to purchase that. It's going to be brand new. I'm going to get it. I bought Mouse PI for Hire. That's a brand new title. So like, when I say brand new, I'm using the term that they're using it here. But you have 62% of people who game that say, hey, at least who did the survey, who say, hey, listen, we don't buy new games. So now you're trying to sell new hardware to people who don't buy new games. The new hardware is meant to play the new games. So what do you need to put in front of them? What do you need to give them a reason to want? Well, the fucking game. And so this is actually a very interesting stat. And I was talking to Logic a little bit beforehand, and I find it interesting that for the show tonight, we had originally Enate, Logic, and myself. We have Enate, who buys quite a bit of games, brand new, day one. We have Logic, who does not buy games brand new, day one, most of the time. You have me, who limits myself to 3 full price games a year. And then you have Jez, who, if he wants it, he buys it. which is, so we have we have a plethora.
That's pretty much yeah.
I mean, that's the way you and Enate have always presented it. If we want a game, we're buying the game, and I don't give a damn if it sits on my shelf in the cellophane. If I want it, I'm buying it. Cool. Yeah. Like, but those are 4 different attitudes among 4 separate gamers, and I don't know. I find it pretty interesting. So what about? Do y'all think that this is just okay? So the article does go on to state, like, as you get older, you have less time to play. Your backlog keeps growing. You buy games on sale that sit in your backlog. And then as more games come out, you get less connected with games. Like, they do give reasons why this is a trend that is being seen. But what do y'all think this is? We have more games coming out than ever before, brand new. And we have gamers at a higher clip than previous years not buying new games. Where does gaming, where do these publishers and developers go from here? Because we've talked about several times before how these games come out and they have to hit, they have to sell so well. And we're going to talk about Sorrows here in a minute, but they have to sell so well. They have to do so much. And now these, like, the games that don't perform well, these studios are just getting closed down. So with people not purchasing new games at as high of a rate as they used to, are we just going to be set up for more closures, more studios coming down? Or is there something the developers have to do where they have to start accounting for this? Like, hey, listen, we need to understand that our game may take a year or 8 months to get to the numbers that we need to see. So, like, is this something that can be addressed on the production side? Or how do companies go about addressing this issue? Logic, I started with Enate last time. We'll go down the line and we'll start with you on this one. So what do you think about this statistic, man?
I'm not fully bought in on it entirely just yet. I just registered to pull down the full 50-page report because there's some things that I saw that just don't necessarily make me suspect of the report, but just that the report will have a certain skew. So the one thing is this is not a report. This is not a survey pegged against core gamers in the way that I think like Newzoo and NPD and Ubisoft, when they've gathered data, collects it. This is the demo that they looked at were people who were engaged with media, and they have a rather extensive definition of what that is. And so it's not simply like how many, go out and survey people who buy a certain number of games per year and blah, 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 blah. It's, people, it's, some rubric for games. It's some rubric for social media content, YouTube videos, listening to podcasts and other things like that. And so I'm just saying that, it'll be a slight step aside right to the left or the right of the bell curve for, data that's gathered from other sources. There's other points of data edge that I would say may make this report look slightly different. And in terms of what they reported out, right? Because we've talked about, like, so I'm trying to figure out how to deal with some of this stuff concisely. So there's a huge variance in wealth equity across the generations, right? Where if you look at all of the wealth within, just say, the United States, a bulk of that wealth is held by Generation X. A significantly smaller amount of that wealth is held by the millennials, and an even much smaller percentage of that wealth is held by Gen Z. Then you look at the fact that millennials and Gen Z are much more strapped with long-term debt than Gen X is. And then you look at some of the challenges that they face. Like, I don't, quite frankly, right now, looking at things, I don't know how it's realistic that Gen Z is going to be able to afford to buy a single family home before they're 30. So the way they will allocate cash will be significantly different. We have other data that shows that the big spending that happens on the other end of the curve, right? Happens at Gen X, who has the largest amount of discretionary spending to spend. So yes, there are some trends, but I don't know that the trends are overwhelmingly tilted in the way that this report is reporting them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see, like, with the way games are, like people not buying new games, like I think a lot of it has to do with these service and free to play games. I think that keeps, like, if you have a crew and you just get on the same game every night, that makes you don't want to get a game and get pulled away from what your crew is doing or playing every night on these free to play or multiplayer games. And the free to plays now make it a lot easier, where you can just pick up a console and just play these games and just get lost in it all day long, and that's it. You didn't buy anything, maybe, and then I'll spend to buy some skins and stuff. I do that whole thing introduced I think a caveat of, like, you don't have to get the next big game so quickly. It's funny because when I when 360 was in its heyday, my friends that I worked with and stuff would play Call of Duty all throughout the year. And they would make fun of me because every month they would be, come on, get on Call of Duty. I'm like, oh, there he is. Jez is playing the new game every month. I'll just buy the new game and just bounce from new game to new game. But then, like, November, December, I'll be on Call of Duty. We'll be playing the new game. But then, like, come February, March, like, I'm like, nah, I'm not going Call of Duty. I'll jump in a little bit here and there. But guys, I'm playing these new games. And they'll just make fun, like, oh, you get the new game every time. And I'm like, yeah, because I want to play the new games. And they put hours in Call of Duty, and that's all they played all year round. And then Gears came out, they'll play a little bit of Gears or Halo, and they'll play it until Call of Duty came out, and they all jumped off of that and jumped on Call of Duty. And I was getting all the different games and then they'll be, hey, how's that game? And you're playing it, and they would not buy anything else except for, like, Halo, Gears, or Call of Duty. The same crew, like about 5-10 guys, like, we would just play Call of Duty. And they would just be like, and I'll be the only one out of that group that just be like the addict of just buying all the new games and playing them. And did I beat them all? No, but I just wanted to play all the new stuff. So, like, I think the biggest, and I'm going to tell you right now with these surveys and stuff, I think the biggest problem is that people still view gaming as a niche thing, as like a gamer and stuff. I think gaming is so huge right now, and it runs the gamut of, like, mobile, PC, console, and it's so big that it has built subcategories. So there is still audiences out there, and I think generalizing what gamers do, just like, 70% are gamers because they play on mobile. I just think that there's, just like with movies, I just think with movies, like, gaming has got so mainstream and big that, just like movies, there's your indie scene, there's your your blockbuster summer movies, like, there's your streamable movies, like, there's it's just so much that, like, there's an audience for everybody. Like, see, all those, like, when you're saying some of those indie games, I wouldn't buy any of those stuff because I have my time. I'm playing the blockbusters, I'm playing the newest stuff. I'm gonna play the stuff that I'm excited about. Indie games, some of those small little chinky games, I wish I did. That's why I wish I had the handheld would be something like that. But I'm not about and around as much as I used to be, that I would love to play those little games on the go. So whenever I'm here, I'm in, like, my gaming experience is summer blockbusters, basically. I'm going to play with the biggest screen, the best headphones, the best experience, and just be immersed. And some of those indie games on a 110-inch projector screen, I'm just like, not today. If I have a couple hours tonight, I want to play the new stuff. But then that doesn't mean that indies are not important or they suck. It just means, like, everybody has different tastes. So as a developer, I think the problem with development of games is that it's the marketing. They don't know, they say the wrong things or the wrong things get leaked. I don't think they're transparent enough with their games. I think people hide their games too much. And I figured in this world of media and video, I think that people should do less talking about their games and more showing of their games. I think their devs got onto these things where they think they're even Steven Spielberg or some bullshit like that, and they get on there and they talk and talk and talk, and then they show the game, and it's like, yo, that looks like ass. You just set the precedent of this incredible game. And I think there's too much talking. There's too much transparency into the development culture, and too much talking that kind of hurts some games. And I think there needs to be more showing of games. You know, when we used to get games, man, it was a magazine, and we the pictures and read the words, but with the pictures and stuff, that's what we wanted to see. That's what sold us on the game. And then get the details of the pictures that we're seeing. We don't get that much. Now these games get hidden. They like, oh yeah, I'll show you the game later. I'll tell you all about it now. And then it's like, stop talking. And they say something stupid. They say something that hurts the game. I think they need marketing and PR, and they need to look at the budgets too, because I think some people think they're too ambitious and they think they like it, and they need somebody to come in there and go, no, man, this is for the public. This is not for you. You may like it, but I don't know if the general public's going to like it. I got to come in here and give you some perspective to make the game, you may love it because you're a geek of that kind of game. The world may not want that. So we're going to have to kind of tweak it a little bit. Not make it easier, but make it acceptable that, for a mass market. Because I think that too. I think in their silos, they think this is a banger. But when they get out there, they're like, oh, yeah, well, we geek out about this kind of stuff, and not everybody does. So there's a lot of problems, though. But it's the FOMO. And I think it has to do with marketing. And I think that, I think free-to-play, too, makes people not want to. And game prices going up, too. $70 game, that's a big investment now. They're not $50. They're not $60. And even the indies and shit, for some reason, those went up in price. Now indies are $30, $40.
Yeah.
It used to be $10.
Yeah.
It used to be $10 and $5.
10, 20, and 25 was pushing it if you were an indie.
25 was like, whoa, that's double A.
Yeah, like, wait a minute.
It was $5 back in the Xbox Live Arcade days. $5 and 10 was like, whoa, 10.
Now you see
it was $7.99.
That's why I was so happy with Coffee Talk, because I was like, man, they're probably going to charge $30 for that. Nope, $17.89. Perfect.
Dude, even that Sony Passion Project, $40. I think that was a kick in the nuts. It was a fun game, but it wasn't no $40.
I want to go back to the top of the survey. So I agree with a lot with what Jez said, but I just want to go back to Alibi, my initial response. So the qualifications for the participants of the survey. To participate, respondents had to meet at least one of the following high consumption criteria.
Okay.
10 gaming hours per week or more, or 10 streaming shows or hours per week or more, or 10 watching YouTube.
10?
10 what or more?
Yes.
Okay, never mind, guys.
Had to meet at least one of the following high consumption criteria. 10 hours of gaming per week or more,
well, that's
or
all
10
free to
streaming
play
shows per week or more, or 10 watching YouTube hours per week or more, or 10 browsing social media hours per week or more.
Watching.
Or 4 watching movie hours.
Yeah, watching, Jez. Watching.
That
Keywords.
qualified somebody as a gamer, but watching YouTube?
This is stupid. Topic is dumb. Don't worry about it.
That qualified them to participate in the survey. So I think,
shit.
I just think a lot of I think a lot of the responses are just very diluted.
This is a linear.
Listen, dog.
In terms of like,
when I say I don't read every single article, y'all gotta believe me when I say this. Okay.
That's why we have the fact checker in here. That's right.
No shit.
So I think a lot of the responses are diluted with regards to gaming. However, all it means, I don't think this survey is completely useless. I just wanted to point out, just sharpen up kind of what it covered.
Yeah.
I think all of the challenges are still pertinent, right? That we've all talked about, which is just that games are rising in price. All the things that Jez said are pertinent, right? Games, single player, story driven, narratives, cinematic, high production games are being challenged by free to play games as a service, the social aspect, and the fact that people there are these gargantuans, right? There are these top 10 black hole games that suck up a lot of people's time. We have, challenges with attach rates and platforms, and the fact that people are distracted by other formats of media. So I think all those things are pertinent. And this is what I've been saying. This data goes hand in hand with a lot of the other data that we have seen. I don't think that the data is as generational as this one presents it. I don't think Gen X is the acute problem that I think one of the takeaways of this tried to show. I think there are some generic problems that are definitely challenging the industry. And I think in the future, what's going to happen is, first of all, I don't think that the industry is going to get that much bigger. And when we talk about the industry, like I think the one that we give a shit about is console and PC, right? So like the mobile stuff and all that stuff, okay, fine, whatever. But like the $92 billion that are being generated on console and PC, I don't know that it gets that much bigger than that. And what I wrote a few weeks ago is that I think each of the competitors in that space, from a platform perspective, things are going to get very vertical and very niche, right? There's the console people. There are going to be these, I'll call them alternative devices like Project Helix, like the Steam Machine, and each of them is going to have room. Each of them is going to have, for the smallest ones of them, some single digit number, millions of people who may bond to their platform. And then you're going to have people who are multi-platform, I would say to the tune of like 2 platforms, maybe not 3 or 4 or 5, like ridiculous numbers that content creators are engaged in. But there'll be a lot of people, I think, that will be 2, and I think we'll see that grow. But I think at the end of the day, there's going to be less wheat for more farmers to gather. And so you're going to continue to see consolidation across the industry. And like Jez said, like when you're going to fire a shot, you're going to need to get to a point where you know that you're not going to miss. The appetite for failure, I think, is going to become less. Some of these things will become problematic. You're going to have some platforms who bear down on kind of in the direction that Xbox is going, where with its core PC and console content, it's going to start getting very Call of Duty like, right? It's going to be the big franchises, the big IPs. It's going to be less appetite for stuff like killing. I mean, I have gone out on an edge and said, I think what's going to happen is that these smaller studios, Ninja Theory, Compulsion Games, In Exile, like if you're not working on a big tentpole IP, I think you are going to be at significant risk of being closed or consolidated. So I think there's going to be fewer bets, bigger games. This is what all the data that we've talked about, right? Where, yes, 19,000 games published on Steam, but some ridiculously small amount are the only ones that generate over like $1 million. Hardly any clear over 100K, right? So, and eventually at some point, the industry is going to understand that, hey, us throwing more and more developer bodies and more games at a wall to earn no money is going to stop making sense. And this is why you have like the results from the survey that we heard earlier this year, which is that now there's a bunch of developers who are just considering leaving the industry. And I hate to say it, I don't mean it to be mean. I think I said it on this show before. I'm like, and they should. It doesn't make sense for you to remain engaged in an industry where there's no money to be made for you and there's no employment to be offered because the market is oversaturated with digital inventory.
No, that definitely makes sense. Enate, do you have anything to add to this?
I mean, I felt like I feel like they articulated a lot.
Yeah, I feel like they did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, you already know my motto, so it's very simple. If I want it and I got it, I'm gonna get it. It's very simple. So yeah,
if you got the bag, you're going to secure the bag.
Exactly.
All right, then let's go to the last topic for tonight. Because I said we wanted to yell at things, and so this just goes into people just not having a life. So there was some drama that happened, and it happened with Soros. People started beating the game, and then came out that Soros had an ending where the main character's wife ends up leaving him for one of his crew members. And they start this, lesbian relationship. People were up in arms. The woke crowd got a hold of it. The anti-woke crowd got a hold of it. One side was going, hey, look, yay. The other side was going, what the fuck are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Neither side had it right. And the other side, the latter, ended up being super loud. And there were videos made. There was posts. There was Sony's woke, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And Lord help me, Jesus, if it did not turn out to be 100% bullshit. Just 100, not even an ounce of the truth. Like, they didn't take it. Listen to what this says. The new PS5 exclusive developed by Housemarque has found itself as the center of controversy that is, however, unfounded. Saros, which was released on April 30th, has been criticized for the supposed conclusion of its story. An AI-generated image has been circulating on social media. It depicted a lesbian relationship between Nitya and Kayla, two female characters in the game. The former is the wife of Arjun, the hero of Saros, and the latter is a member of his crew. On X, the account Pirate Nation described it as a plot in which a cuckolded man is betrayed and left by his wife for a lesbian. Except none of this is true. As we mentioned earlier, the image was created using artificial intelligence. The two women never crossed paths during the course of the story. Furthermore, the story being told is largely inaccurate. We obviously won't spoil it to avoid ruining the fun for those who are currently immersed in Saros. So never, not once, did she come in contact with her. And this, all you have to do, my God, I should try this next week. All you have to do is post something, use an AI image, grain it out a bit, and boom, you now have proof. You have created your own proof, and you're full of shit, but you're going to get engagement. You're going to get farming. You're going to get retweets and likes and all of that crap that everybody wants. And honestly, yeah, Josh, quote unquote proof. It is wild to me how low people will go, especially people on the every game is woke if it mentions anything about something you disagree with. That's wild. It's a blatant disregard for gaming. It's a blatant disregard for the gamer, and it's piss poor journalism and or reporting. If you're like, well, I'm not a journalist, I'm just reporting on what I saw. Like, it's the same damn thing. And then to come to find out, it was a generated image that had nothing to do with the actual game. Jez being the third topic of the night, and Enate had to bounce off.
Give me this one.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the ability to crush on people who blabber their mouth and talk shit when they shouldn't. So yeah.
Well, I think it's all. I can't believe how the internet is a disaster. It's a shit show. Like it is what
disaster.
It is. Like
it's a disaster, Ryan.
It's a disaster, Ryan. A train wreck. It's a train wreck.
Train wreck.
Like my thing is that I feel that, and you know what? What's funny is I thought about this today. Ever since the blue check mark shit was there and people could monetize stuff, I don't think anything's real anymore. Like I don't even think people feel certain ways about about consoles. I just think they just want that click, they want that engagement, and whatever makes a buck, and that's it. They could turn something in and be like, this is the most devastating picture. I'm devastated. This is the worst experience ever. And they could be taking a shit, looking out the window, feeding the birds. They could care less, but they're gonna act on Twitter like this is just to trigger people that may feel that way, really, to just take it away. And they just started the shitstorm. They're all little sparks starting a fire, and they do this all the time. Dude, look at the Sony DRM. I haven't seen the words DRM this week at all. I didn't even talk about it because it was a nothing burger. Because some person took apart their PlayStation and they took batteries out. I don't know. I wasn't even following it because I knew it was some horse shit. And then Sony came out and said, yeah, it's this. I'm like, what are we talking about? They were trying to recreate the 2013 hype about like how to share your games and stuff. Even two goofs try to do it themselves, like in their mom's basement. I have no why. These two guys dressed up in Xbox guys. Dude, you're not that cool. Like, it's not fun. Like, the mom's like, come to dinner. They're like, Mom, we're making a video. Grown-ass men in the basement. Like, two goofy asses were trying to do the same thing. They're like, hey, we could go viral with this, man. He goes, you think Mom will let us use the basement camera? It's like, yeah, maybe. Like, some goofy asses. all to try to get a rise, to try to get some trend, try to get a click. It is pathetic. It's garbage. And that's what it is. The train wreck and all this stuff. And they love to just go after a game. And they don't even play the game, but they see something. They see a girl. They see the hair. I'm playing Ghost of Yote right now. Look at the bullshit they did to that lady. That bullshit that they did to this lady. Don't play the game. And then on top of that, then you got the console war, which was supposed to be not cool, but now it's cool now again. But like if they would jump on this going, nobody buy the PlayStation game, maybe we're gonna make it not sell because of this. So they jump on it. Just like they were doing the DRM. Asha, look at Asha. She's great. Why don't you buy an Xbox now? Sony's messing with you with DRM. Look at Asha. Look at Asha. Dude, it is a sickness. As Next Gen 720 says, it's a sickness. And the internet is the dirty place. And my thing is that if you really do care about something, do your research and find out for yourself so that you can make an educated consumer decision and how you feel about stuff. Do not take stuff for face value. Do not take stuff the first time around. Always show up with doubt and questions and then do your own research. That's how I do it. That's why I smell that glaze, man. If it's a single glaze, I smell it. If it's a triple glaze, I smell it. I just know people are fake as shit in real life. They're even more fake as shit on the internet.
Dude.
So do your research.
People are fake as shit everywhere. And the fact that people will give them such a hard reaction, like, it's not even difficult anymore to stir up bullshit. It's literally just go online, post something, say you talked to somebody, make it look sort of semi-believable, and then just hit send. It doesn't even have to be semi-believable.
No.
Hell, like, it's...
I could just say what I'm hearing is that Gears is going to have co-op with 4 players. And, yeah. And if I have a picture with me and Asha, guess what? Holy shit. They'll write articles about me. They'll come to my channel. Well, I had a conversation with Asha. There's my picture. And then I tweet out, I hear Gears. What I've been hearing is that Gears is going to have 4-player co-op. And that's it. You got Windows Central bootleg writing an article about you. They got everybody. The Haza, what is that guy? Hazagar is you. Idle Sloth is gonna write about you. Boomstick will do a podcast. This is what they do. Yeah. This is what they do. Then they send me a shirt, and all that. And I'm telling you, and it just gets crazy like that. And there's no checks and balances. The media is shit. And I see what Corey says. Like, that's why it's right. You got to use your 2 sources. But devs, that's why I said devs got to stop the talking. Make sure you have a quality video of your game that represents the game. Show some gameplay. Maybe if you want to talk about it after. But I think the devs, they get a microphone in their face because all these influencers and stuff want to get content for their channel. So they get devs to come on to talk too much and could hurt the game. Stop talking and show it. And you want to know what? I'm and that's what amazes me for this generation, for this era, that with YouTube, with the way we share video, we should be seeing gameplay for games every goddamn day. Instead, I see more talking and heads, like everybody's ESPN. We should be seeing gameplay we saw more things about games when we had magazines. Then now we have videos and we do not see games. Instead, I see a dev talking about a game, and the game is in the background on a TV with some snuff film. I'm like, move out of the way. Let me see what that dude's playing back there. Why are you standing in front of the gameplay? Why is the TV at an angle like I'm sitting on the floor and looking up at the TV? Got to play this new game today, and it's like, why did you take it from up in a tree? Where's your capture card? People got capture cards. I got a thumbstick that could capture shit. Nobody capturing video. I went to the event today. I played the game. Can't talk about it. Then don't talk. We're going to have a new, like tomorrow, we're going to have a video about Helix. I can't say too much. Then why is there a video about Helix then? I'm on the Xbox podcast. Can you tell us about what you're working on the studios? Well, Matt Booty said, I can't talk too much about. Then why are you here? We do too much of this shit. Matt Booty's interview, and he sits there and he don't say shit. I'm like, why was he there? And this is the shit that is just, the internet is a shit show. And you gotta laugh at it. Well, and that's why these podcasts that we do, that you guys do, that Nate does, that GameLogIQ does, that's the stuff you gotta listen to. I'm telling you, because there's so much bullshit out there. And I said it just like these guys said. I'm not gonna have no goddamn freaking person send me your free shit, because I lose all my credibility. They could keep their free shit. I buy what I want and talk about what I want.
That's right.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's what real gamers do. I don't need no sponsor shit running in the fucking bottom of my screen. I don't need any horse shit. I go buy the game, I tell you about the game, and I show you the game. And then you make a decision with your 2 eyeballs.
Yep. It's actually something that I love about because you tend to play the games that I'm generally on the fence about. And so like
Crimson Desert, dude, how many people bought the game? Because I was playing the game. They're like, oh, I heard it's broken. I'm like, I'm playing it.
But I didn't buy the game because I watched you play the game. I was like, yeah, no, this ain't for me.
Exactly.
This is cool. This ain't for me.
See, I don't care. If you don't like it, dude, you say it's not for me. I know. And the thing is, though, is I said I bought the game and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play it. And everybody's like, oh, I heard it's broken. All the shit I heard on the internet. It's broken. It doesn't work. It's like, maybe there's some things that got fixed, but it didn't break. You're like, oh, yeah, you can't even get through the first mission. I'm like, what? I'm like, anyway, yeah, it's just, I feel like, there's times I get a review code or something. Dude, I got Clint, man, the day it came out. I was like, oh, let me click on this thing. They're like, here's a review code for Clint. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know if I want to play that game. But
I don't know if I want
I'll get a review code here and there. I'll get a review code here and there and play the game and show like that. But it's basically to try out other games or save a buck and let me try something that maybe I was not going to buy. But see, that's the thing. The PR, the things like that, you want to give that FOMO where people feel like, yo, I'm confident in spending $70 in this game. That's what I'm saying. With Forza, we should be right now, we didn't have to be diehard Forza fans. Microsoft should have showed so much of that game that even if you don't like cars, you want to play. And they don't. And that's the problem. When Wolverine comes out, or even when Soros came out, the way Sony rolled it out, it's like, yo, here's the game. It looks awesome. They made sure they saw enough of it so that you feel confident in buying it. And with Game Pass, people are like, oh yeah, I'll just check Forza out in Game Pass because I don't know if I want to buy it. I don't know if it has Underglow. I don't know if it has that night racing scene. Maybe it'll come in DLC. It's not at launch. I'm just going to get it in Game Pass. That and Game Pass Day 1 killed Xbox because there was doubt. Games were not 30. Games were 30 frames. All that stuff. But you got to sell your games and use the internet accordingly. But things that you showed before, man, they did try to do the boycott with Last of Us, Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, and that one even I came out and defended. I was like, listen, guys, it makes sense.
I don't follow any of that shit. Whenever I see it, I can smell it from a mile away. I know it's just people trying to get a rise out of people, and the dev says one thing, the woman who's mocapping the person has purple hair. You know what?
Or no hair.
Everybody go fuck yourselves. Go play the goddamn games. And stop with this bullshit.
I agree. And it's not to discount the times when it does go too far, in my opinion, or when there is an agenda
I'm
being
sure.
pushed. But
yes, but there's times when it's far, but it's very few and far between.
That. Yeah. Most of the time, it's not that. Logic, do you have anything to say to close out this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a post I think earlier this week that talked about what I refer to as the Alex Jonesification / Infowars coming of the gaming conversation. And I mean, that's the corner it turned, and it really.
That's exactly what it turned into.
It did.
It really started to me. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll definitely, attribute some of it to the blue checkmark thing, but I think the real point where it really gained velocity, is AI, because the console boring stuff has now gotten to the point where we have used AI to generate fake AI voiceover interpretations of Toki at an investors week call, to create a video that had him saying things that was not what he was saying about shipping the games to other platforms. We have created photoshops of Forbes articles that Forbes had to come right down out of the seat to say that is not an article that we ever ran, right? That's a fake. We have, we're using, old photos and taking photos off eBay and things to say, people have repurchased Xboxes. We have,
you're going right down the list. Yep.
We have people grabbing photos, from Facebook and other places to assert that they're PC gamers and they've built a powerful rig when they're really on a potato PC. We have people doing things to fake that they're playing games that they're not playing. Like this to me has like hurdled the shark like in the last year. And we have people taking these things. I mean, I'll just be blunt about it. Like Jez Corden claiming that he's gotten a bunch of DMs from people saying the drop in Game Pass price has led people to go back and repurchase Xboxes. I'm like, a $7 decrease in a subscription price that is going to have you re-up at the cost of, I forget what 23 times 12 is, like 286 or something like that a year, like doesn't equate to somebody deciding that they're going to now go buy a $650 box that is now increased $150 over MSRP from its initial launch. For any human being that has any financial common sense at all.
Clint?
Yeah, I mean, so you're going to take 3 years to earn back your ROI on repurchasing a piece of hardware that you actually sold because you had become dissatisfied. So, and
you got not like Call of Duty too.
Yeah, we've just gotten to a point where we are telling blatant lies, right? Amongst the content creator community, we are faking media and audiovisual content for the purpose of politicizing the gaming conversation. And then you have this faction of the anti-woke people. Like when it's like philosophically and sociologically, it's been well documented and well written that people aren't even using the word appropriately and accurately when they're bandying that label about. I mean, this is just where we are. Like just says, I mean, there has been a destruction and eradication of anything that resembles journalism in the gaming media space. And none of these guys are formally trained journalists. They didn't go to school for it. They're relatively poor writers. And again, it's all about politics and propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame because it's a detriment. I forget who was on. It was Will. When Will was on the show, he mentioned he's like, we have the largest growing multimedia industry in entertainment, and we have the worst journalistic coverage. Like literally movies and TV get better coverage, right, than video games do. We just have trash writers, trash journalism, like garbage coverage.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where, and I've been relatively dedicated for decades, trying to read gaming. I bought the first issue of GamePro magazine off the little wire magazine turnstile in a grocery store when I was a kid. And I've been reading gaming news ever since. And I literally go days where, I go through my RSS feeds and my links and I'm like, there's no news here. We've got Tom Warren at The Verge, who's on the Xbox payroll, running an article saying,
oh my God. I don't know what The Verge turned into, dude. And they're all paid too. You gotta pay for his trash.
Yeah. Right, running an article as a headline that Xbox employees are getting an Xbox.com email. That's news today. It's just ridiculous.
And did they? I think it's so Satya could let that whole department go. Anybody with Xbox.com. Like I think that's what
Makes it
like,
easy to
he's
set up a
identified
mailing
them.
list of layoff
Exactly. He
notices,
goes, yeah, everybody with Xbox.com. Yeah, those are the ones that we're gonna like. The thing is like I don't even know what happened to The Verge. I used to watch The Verge and Engadget for all electronics. Verge went to shit, and Tom Warren, like again, they went off their rockers. Like there's a few people that I'll listen to for any news, and it's like Paul Thurrott is like sometimes I guess Jason Schreier, he's right. I said the best one, Steven Totillo.
Yeah,
like that's
I
the
like
only
him.
one, and really that's about it. Like, and if you want Microsoft coverage, you do Paul Thurrott. And Brad Sams to some extent, but I would just do Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. But Mary Jo Foley, I think, works now for Microsoft. But I listen to them, and Leo Laporte, like, you know, those guys, like, those are old school, like, tech heads. And you listen to those people if you want any tech news and what's going on. And, but, like, really, the rest of them are just, they're bloggers. Like, they're just engagement farmers and clickbaiters, and that's it. And you're right. Like, Xbox, like they're getting emails, and then all you got to do is put rumor or heard, and it's completely wrong. And you don't have to update the article. You don't even do it. And what's even worse now, what you're saying with AI, is that AI takes that bogus shit and turns it into fact. Like, well, according to today, the Xbox people are getting .coms, and you know that's a big shift, and AI makes up some shit too, because it's using these articles as fact to make decisions to feed you information. So we are in a shit show again upcoming, because there's no fact checking on any of these articles, and then AI pulling these articles and coming up with conclusions to feed us stuff. It's crazy, like how like and know what's even crazier is trying to find hypocrisy, because what happens is when the new shit comes out, it conflates and takes over the old shit of what was the former promise. Like, you got to go really search to find out, well, wait, what did they say last year in May, as opposed to, it's like, well, in May of 2026, I'm like, bitch, last year, May 2025, what did they say? Well, since then there have been changes, and it's like, I want to know what happened. Like, it's so hard to find archived information, because it wants to feed the most current shit to you all the time. And it's just like, well, screw you. I'm just going to go read the article. Like, and I click on the sources to go back to the articles. And it's crazy, dude. It is crazy. I'm like, well, what did Phil say in 2023? Well, Phil's leaving now. It's like, oh, you son of a bitch. I'm like stop it. Asha, the new person, is reported that Phil's
here anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't care what happened now. When did? Because I wanted to know, and this is here. You want to know fun fact, because I was using it. When does the last time a gaming CEO shared a dashboard UI video, like an update? They said, as of May 2026, Asha Sharma has shared the new Xbox boot up screen. I'm like, yeah, who has ever did that before? Nobody. Only Phil Spencer had it in the background when he announced the series consoles in 2020. That's it. Of all of gaming, there's only been one person that shared the news of a dashboard update, of a dashboard boot up screen, and that's been Asha Sharma. That's it.
Crazy. And it just goes, man.
Because nobody gives a shit about that.
Nobody cares anymore. They just want to stir up it's almost to the point that, listen, we're done with the show, guys. This is it. This is the wrap up. It's almost as if I get more enjoyment out of watching people who have sub 5,000 subscribers and don't get their shit for free and are just doing shorts and stuff just to try to up their kind of visibility and stuff. Like, I have more enjoyment watching those guys than watching some of these channels. I was watching somebody talk about Saros, and I made it about 45 seconds into his video because he was like, hey, Saros is this, Saros is that. Thank you, Sony, for sending me the code. And I was like, well, shit. All right, never mind. And boop, went on to the next one. And I was like, dang, this guy actually looked like he knew what he was going to be talking about, blah, blah, blah. But I can't trust him at that point. Because it's been so jaded. And I know that everybody who gets a code isn't bought and paid for. I get that. But like, it happens, and it's so blatantly obvious so many times that I'm like, you know what? Okay. Like, Redfall wasn't an 8. I want to know who gave it an 8, and then those people are no longer on my list of people I watch. Like, Redfall was not an 8. So sorry. Like, there's games that are... If somebody gave Outriders a 10, I would probably look at that guy and go, you know what? I don't think I like your judgment on video games anymore. Like this... And I loved Outriders, but it's because now when you say you got a code, I don't trust you anymore. And it's articles like this that continue to degrade and erode what can be trusted by gamers when it comes to social media, when it comes to so-called insiders, because we don't know anymore. We have no earthly fucking idea. And that's why, Jez, you've said it before. Make sure your eyesight's 20/20 and use your both of your eyeballs. That's it. Just use those. Figure it out. It's like folks made a big deal about the end of Horizon. Folks made a big deal about the beginning, middle, and end of Last of Us Part 2. Folks made a huge deal about Concord. Folks made a big deal, which, sure, whatever. Haha, Concord's dead. But, like, it died because it was woke. It died because they didn't have good character models. I don't give a shit if it was woke or not. Their character models sucked. Like, that's why, that's a big factor. People couldn't attach themselves to it. Okay, cool. Like, let the devs do what they're going to do. And then you get to make a decision based off of what they do. So, in other words, if a developer comes out, Life is Strange, okay? Life is Strange Part 2 went heavy into the LGBTQIA stuff. And when that storyline came out and had it, oh my God, Life is Strange went woke. And I'm like, did you play the first one? Did you? They might highlight it more in the second, but that stuff was there in the first. But because somebody somewhere brought attention to it, because it is the, oh crud, who'd you mention earlier? The Alex Jones. It's the Alex Jones world of gaming right now. And those folks want to stay relevant, and they have to stay relevant. The problem is that developers have naturally, because there was a point, like I said earlier, there was a point, I'd say about 3 to 5 years ago, where you really started to see a quote-unquote agenda, and it wasn't that hard to look or to find it. Like, it wasn't like what they're doing here. It wasn't like what they had to do at the end of Horizon, but there was a clear agenda in a few different games that had come out. And people ran with that, and people could see it, and the games didn't sell well because of it. And like the stuff that happened with Dragon Age Veilguard, just blatant example of where, like, you just don't do that. You don't put 2025 writing into a game set in the 1800s. Like, that's just fucking stupid. Don't do it. But that comes from being a good writer, or from being a poor writer, not necessarily from just being somebody who has an agenda. Like, you can be a terrible writer and not have an agenda and still write shitty characters with shitty dialogue that makes no sense for the time frame you're portraying. Like, people need to be vigilant with what they're listening to and with what they're watching. That's what this boils down to, guys. Take the time to do the research, to figure out kind of where it goes. Like, part of this show is I don't research every single article. GameLogIQ said, hey, I'm going to take 5 minutes here, and I'm going to find out the information from the article as to where they got the survey and all that. And it changed the entire outlook of it. That's great. Do that. Do that shit. When we talk about shit on here, go during you have the fucking phone in your hand. You're at your computer, you're at your laptop, you have the phone close by to you. You can Google, hey, are these fuckers telling the truth? Check us. See, who gives a shit? Like, that's what you need to be doing whenever you see something now online, because this type of stuff is only going to get worse. And what's also only going to get worse is my voice if I don't shut up and stop talking. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to thank the two gentlemen who are still here and thank Enate for coming on. GameLogIQ, where can folks find you?
Hanging around here and podcast with a lot of your guests. So every once in a while on Otter Gang, on Brap's show. Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Hey,
Thereabouts.
I have both of his podcasts linked in the description below. Jez, where can people find you?
Oh, Gaming Grindhouse on Monday nights and all throughout the week. I drop videos and music and stuff like that. But yeah, awesome conversation, guys. And thanks for having me on. And it's a great show. Hit that like button and subscribe.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for coming on, dude. Hey, we did pick up another subscriber tonight. He's a guy here, DJX32. He comes in, comes out. It's pretty interesting. I can gauge when I'm saying stuff he agrees with, because I end up getting him to follow back, and then eventually he'll leave, and a couple months later he'll subscribe again. So it's quite funny. But we are now at 854. We are 146 away from that lovely 1,000. Guys, any help y'all can do is great. Share it out, all of that stuff. Thank y'all for showing up.